As you take another slow breath, imagine the gentle creak of the wooden floorboards beneath your feet as you step softly into the hallway. The air carries a faint scent, a mixture of polished wood, fresh linens, the subtle fragrance of lavender from sachets tucked away in drawers. This home, like many in Edwardian times, thrives on quiet order and gentle routines. A rhythm shaped by decades of tradition and care. The walls here are adorned with elegant wallpaper, soft hues of cream and sage that soothe the eyes. Portraits of stern yet dignified ancestors look down from ornate gold frames, their eyes following your every movement with an almost protective calm. Outside the windows, early morning light filters through lace curtains, casting delicate patterns of shadow and light that dance slowly across the polished surfaces. Imagine the flicker of torches in the servants' corridor, a hidden world running parallel to the grand life above. Here, footsteps are softer, voices hushed, and every action purposeful. The servants move with practiced grace, their duties both demanding and vital to the household's smooth operation. They carry out their tasks with quiet dignity, knowing that behind every polished piece of silverware and perfectly set table lies countless hours of unseen work. Feel the coolness of the morning air as you near the kitchen. The scent of freshly baked bread mingles with the earthy aroma of root vegetables being prepared for the day's meals. Hear the soft clinking of pots and pans, the low murmur of conversation as the kitchen staff begins their day. There is a comforting predictability here. Each sound, each movement part of a well-worn dance passed down through generations. As you breathe in this peaceful atmosphere, your mind begins to slow, settling deeper into the calm embrace of history. This is not just a story, it is an invitation to live and breathe alongside those who served, loved, and lived in an Edwardian household. Together, we will wander through quiet corridors, glimpse the bustling kitchens, and feel the weight of tradition in every whispered command. Allow your thoughts to drift gently, as if floating on a slow-moving river. Each detail you notice, each scene you imagine, will carry you further from the busy noise of today, deeper into the restful past. The soft crackle of a hearth fire, the muted footsteps of a housemaid carrying fresh water, the rustle of a maid's apron as she moves about her duties, all these sounds become your lullaby. Let the gentle imagery settle in your mind like a soft blanket. The house is waking slowly, the servants preparing for the day with quiet diligence. The world beyond may be bustling, but here, time moves with a gentler beat. Every moment is steeped in history and calm, a perfect place to let your mind rest and your body relax as you imagine yourself here. Moving through these familiar spaces, know that you are safe and cared for. The house itself seems to breathe, with a quiet, steady rhythm inviting you to join in its calm. Each breath you take matches the gentle pulse of life within these walls. With every exhale, feel your muscles loosen, your thoughts slow. The worries of the day fall away like autumn leaves drifting to the ground. You are here now, in this tranquil moment, a quiet witness to the lives that unfolded within these rooms. Allow your imagination to paint the scene in soft, comforting colors. The sun rising slowly over manicured gardens, the delicate scent of blooming roses carried on a cool breeze, distant call of a morning bird, the soft tapping of a broom on stone floors. These details blend into a soothing tapestry that wraps around you gently as the house awakens. So do the stories it holds, stories of hard work, quiet hopes, and enduring strength. The lives of servants in the Edwardian era were far from easy, yet there was grace in their routines, pride in their work, and moments of warmth shared in small, hidden ways. Feel the quiet camaraderie among the servants, the brief smiles exchanged over steaming cups of tea, the whispered jokes in the servants' hall, the steady rhythm of shared chores. Though their world was often one of strict rules and expectations, Within these walls, there was also a sense of belonging. A community woven together by shared experience. Imagine now a housemaid named Eleanor. Her footsteps light but purposeful as she moves through the grand corridors. She carries a tray of freshly polished silverware, the soft clink of the pieces echoing gently. Her uniform is crisp and neat, her hair pulled back in a simple bun. Eleanor's day is long, her tasks many, but she moves with quiet determination and a heart full of hope. Picture her pausing briefly to look out a window, watching the garden bathed in the soft morning light. The flowers nod gently in the breeze, and for a moment, Eleanor's thoughts drift beyond the house to dreams of freedom, of life beyond these walls. But she quickly returns to her duties, steady and reliable, a vital thread in the fabric of the household. As you imagine Eleanor's world, feel your own body sink deeper into relaxation. Her steady pace becomes your own calm rhythm, her quiet strength a comforting presence. Let the gentle cadence of her day guide you into a place of peaceful rest. Now, imagine the household's butler, Mr. Hawthorne, standing tall and composed. In the grand entrance hall, his voice is low and measured as he gives instructions to the other staff. Though his demeanor is formal, there is kindness beneath the surface, a deep understanding of the burdens each servant carries. Feel the steady confidence in his tone, the reassuring weight of his presence. In this house, every role matters. Every task contributes to the harmony of the whole. And tonight, as you rest your head, you are part of this timeless story. Let the house's stories lull you deeper into calm. The ticking of a grandfather clock, the rustle of curtains, the distant murmur of voices all become part of a gentle symphony designed to ease your mind and cradle you softly toward sleep. With each breath, feel yourself drifting further from the worries of the waking world, carried gently by the serene pulse of the Edwardian household. You are wrapped in history's quiet embrace, safe and serene. Now, as your eyelids grow heavier and your thoughts soften, know that this journey has only just begun. Together, we will explore every corner of this grand home, uncovering the quiet beauty of a life dedicated to service, loyalty, and resilience. So breathe deeply once more, and allow yourself to be carried on this soothing voyage. The house stands ready to welcome you, its stories unfolding slowly, gently, like the closing of a book at day's end. Sleep is near, and with it, peace. The Edwardian household waits patiently, inviting you to rest within its timeless walls. You awaken slowly as the first tender light of dawn begins to filter softly through the delicate lace curtains that frame your window. The morning is quiet, almost reverent, with a gentle hush settling over the estate. The soft glow of early sunlight paints the walls in warm hues of gold and amber, casting gentle shadows that stretch lazily across the polished wooden floorboards. You feel the coolness of the morning air brush softly against your skin as it drifts in through a slightly open window, carrying with it the fresh scent of dewiest grass and blooming flowers from the garden below. The world outside is just beginning to stir. From somewhere distant, you hear the familiar and soothing call of a rooster, its voice clear but not urgent, marking the start of a new day. Birds begin their morning chorus, their gentle songs weaving through the crisp air, like a soft melody designed to ease you from sleep into wakefulness. The rustling of leaves in the light breeze adds a whispering undertone, as if the very trees themselves are greeting the dawn. You lie for a moment longer, breathing deeply, feeling the rhythm of your heartbeat steady and calm. The scent of lavender, carefully cultivated in neat rows beyond the window, mingles with the faint trace of beeswax polish that clings to the woodwork of the room. It's a comforting aroma, one that evokes order, care, and the quiet dignity of a household that tends lovingly to every corner of its domain. Looking out, your eyes take in the garden just beyond the glass, a picture of Edwardian tranquility. Dewdrops sparkle like tiny jewels on the soft petals of roses and honeysuckle, their colors muted but rich in the gentle morning light. Ivy climbs gracefully up the stone walls, weaving nature and architecture into a seamless embrace. A garden. Paths laid with smooth cobblestones wind their way through neatly trimmed hedges, inviting slow, thoughtful walks in the cool of the morning. The estate feels alive yet peaceful, a world where nature and nurture coexist in harmony. The scent of fresh earth, stirred by the first light, rises softly to greet you, a reminder of growth and quiet. Renewal. Somewhere in the distance, you catch the faint clang of a metal gate being opened, signaling the beginning of daily activity without shattering the calm. You rise slowly, stretching out with care, savoring the lingering softness of your linens. The room itself is a haven of understated elegance, the walls painted in muted tones that soothe the eye, decorated with framed botanical prints and simple lace doilies that soften the edges of furniture. The heavy oak dresser gleams faintly. In the morning light, its surface carefully dusted and polished to a warm sheen. A small porcelain basin waits quietly on the bedside table, the promise of cool water to refresh your face as you step toward the window. The cool floorboards greet your bare feet, their smoothness grounding you in the present moment. The garden's quiet beauty calls softly. The gentle sway of flowering plants and the distant flutter of a butterfly's wings, creating a slow, natural rhythm. The soft coo of a morning dove blends with the faint babble of a nearby brook, weaving a tranquil soundscape that invites deep breathing and stillness. This moment feels suspended in a gentle pause before the day truly begins. It is here, in this quiet dawn, that you begin to understand the world you are stepping into. One of order and grace, of ritual and routine, where every breath and movement is part of a larger, peaceful rhythm. You close your eyes briefly and take a slow, deep breath, inviting calmness to fill every part of your being. The tension of waking slips away like morning mist, replaced by a serene awareness of your surroundings. The day ahead will unfold gradually, marked by small, purposeful tasks carried out with care and attention. Yet for now, all is stillness, and soft light, a perfect beginning. When you open your eyes again, the estate's gentle morning light continues to pour in, and you feel ready to step quietly into this world. The delicate balance of nature and nurture, work and rest, tradition and change, all blend seamlessly around you. This is the Edwardian dawn, a time of both promise and quiet reflection. The scents, sounds, and sights combine to create a peaceful sanctuary, inviting you to breathe deeply, relax fully, and prepare for the slow unfolding of a day lived in gentle harmony with history. The early morning light seeps softly through the tall mullioned windows of the grand Edwardian household. Outside, a faint chill still lingers in the air, while inside, the vast manor slowly begins to stir with the gentle rhythm of the day ahead. As a servant here, you are among the first to rise, and your senses awaken to the familiar sounds and scents that signal the start of another day of careful, quiet service. You slip into your simple uniform, the modest cotton dress with its soft, worn fabric, the apron crisply tied around your waist. The cool touch of the starched linen against your skin brings a comforting sense of readiness. Your hair is carefully brushed and pinned back, each strand in place as expected. This ritual is more than just preparation. It is your way of stepping into the world that will soon fill with the lives of the family and the many duties you will perform on their behalf. In the kitchens, the warm glow of hearth fires begins to chase away the lingering cold. The rich scent of burning wood mixes with the aroma of freshly baked bread cooling on racks and the delicate fragrance of steeping tea. The kitchen staff, already awake and bustling, move with practiced ease through their morning tasks. The clinking of china and silverware being polished echoes softly against the tiled walls. You hear the low murmur of whispered instructions exchanged between cooks and maids. Voices kept just above a breath, careful not to disturb the sleeping household as you make your way through the dimly lit corridors. Your footsteps fall in time, with the faint creaks of wooden floorboards. The mansion, so vast and silent in the early hours, feels like a world unto itself, a place where time moves gently, measured by the rising and setting of the sun and the steady routines of those who live and work within its walls. The polished wood paneling, the delicate floral wallpaper, the heavy velvet drapes all combine to create an atmosphere of quiet dignity, a reminder of the social order that governs every moment. You pause briefly by a large window overlooking the garden, where the first rays of sunlight gild the leaves and flowers with a golden glow. The garden is peaceful, dew sparkling on the neatly trimmed hedges and the colorful blooms arranged with careful attention. It is a world of calm beauty, contrasting with the busy day that will soon unfold inside. Your morning duties begin with setting the dining rooms for breakfast. You move slowly and deliberately, laying the polished silverware and fine china with care. The gleam of the cutlery catches the light, while the soft linen napkins are folded just so, each detail attended to with pride and precision. The tablecloths are freshly laundered and crisply starched, adding to the sense of order and cleanliness that the family expects. As you work, you listen to the gentle hum of the house waking up. From upstairs, you hear the soft footsteps of the lady's maid preparing the family's chambers. The faint sound of a piano being played drifts down the stairwell, a delicate melody, perhaps a morning practice by one of the children or the lady of the house herself. These sounds fill the manor with life, reminding you that behind the grand facade and strict routines, there is warmth and humanity. In the servants' quarters, the camaraderie is quiet but present. You exchange nods and soft greetings with fellow maids and footmen, each focused on their tasks, yet connected by the shared understanding of your roles. There is an unspoken bond among those who serve here, built on long hours and shared challenges. Despite the rigid hierarchy, moments of kindness and humor break through the formality, offering brief respite from the demanding day ahead. As breakfast is prepared, the kitchen fills with activity. Pots bubble gently on the stove. The scent of porridge mingles with freshly brewed coffee, and eggs sizzle softly in pans. The cook calls out instructions with a steady voice, while assistants hustle to keep pace. You catch the sight of freshly baked rolls, their golden crusts promising warmth and comfort to those who will soon gather at the table. With the table set and breakfast nearly ready, you take a moment to steady yourself. The quiet before the arrival of the family is a time for reflection, a chance to prepare mentally and emotionally for the day's challenges. You breathe deeply, savoring the stillness and the subtle sounds that fill the space. This calm is a precious gift amid the bustle that will follow. Then, the soft sounds of footsteps signal the family's awakening. The lady of the house descends gracefully, her dress whispering against the floor. Her presence commands attention without effort, poised, refined, yet approachable. You notice the gentle way she acknowledges the servants, a small nod or a quiet good morning that speaks volumes of the household's tone. The master of the house follows, his steps steady and sure, his face composed yet kind. As they take their places, you move discreetly to serve, attentive to every need. The rhythm of service is familiar, a dance of quiet efficiency, anticipating requests before they are made, ensuring that nothing is overlooked. The morning meal unfolds with soft conversation, the clinking of cups, and the occasional smile shared between family members and servants alike. Outside, the world continues to awaken. The sounds of horses in the stables, the distant call of birds, and the gentle rustling of leaves in the morning breeze remind you that life beyond the manor is moving at its own pace. Yet here, within these walls, time is shaped by ritual and respect. by duties performed with care and pride. As breakfast ends, you prepare to move on to your next tasks, perhaps tidying the drawing rooms, preparing the family's correspondence, or attending to the children's needs. Each duty is approached with the same calm focus, the same understanding of your vital role in the smooth functioning of this household. In these quiet morning moments, you feel connected to a world both demanding and beautiful, world where every action matters, where history is lived in the small details of daily life. You breathe deeply again, allowing the calm to settle over you, ready to step fully into the day ahead. You find yourself moving slowly through the spacious kitchen, the heart of the Edwardian household. The warmth of the hearth radiates gently against the cool morning air drifting through the open window, carrying with it the faint scent of freshly chopped herbs and burning peat. The wooden beams above are darkened with age, yet sturdy, supporting the ceiling in a reassuring embrace. You step quietly on the worn stone floor, each footfall softened by the thick braided rugs spread in front of the work tables. In this kitchen, life pulses softly but steadily. Copper pots hang from wrought iron hooks, gleaming with a gentle coppery glow that catches the light just so. You hear the faint clink of cutlery and the distant murmur of conversation from the servants' quarters. The low hum of the scullery maid's steady scrubbing blends with the gentle crackle of the fire. This space feels alive yet peaceful, a place where hard work meets quiet dignity. You reach out to touch the rough-hewn wooden table, its surface scarred and stained from years of chopping, rolling dough, and setting out ingredients for the family's meals. The texture is familiar beneath your fingertips, smooth in some places, marked by small dents and grooves in others. Nearby, a bowl of freshly picked apples sits on a shelf, their rosy skins shining with the morning light filtering through the window. You notice the soft rustle of linen aprons as a maid moves gracefully between tasks. Her footsteps are light, practiced, and you watch as she tends to a basket of laundry resting by the door. The gentle folding of linens is almost meditative, a rhythm in the background of the bustling kitchen. The scent of lavender and soap mingles in the air, lending a calming atmosphere to this otherwise busy room. As you inhale deeply, you sense the mingling aromas of freshly baked bread cooling on a rack and the subtle hint of herbs simmering in a nearby pot. The soft murmur of a kettle beginning to whistle adds to the comforting soundtrack of the afternoon. You imagine yourself reaching for a warm cup of tea, the porcelain delicate but steady in your hands, the steam rising slowly in swirling tendrils. From the corner of the kitchen, you see the kitchen boy carrying a small tray of ingredients toward the scullery. His face is youthful, marked by determination and a quiet pride in his work. He moves with purpose, aware of the importance of each small task in the grand operation of the household. You catch a moment of eye contact, a fleeting, unspoken connection between two people united by the rhythm of daily toil. Stepping outside into the courtyard, the fresh air greets you with a gentle scent of blooming roses and damp earth. The garden is carefully tended, each flower bed arranged with thoughtful precision. You hear the distant chirping of sparrows and the faint buzz of bees moving from blossom to blossom. The sun is higher now, casting warm, dappled light through the leaves of the old oak tree standing sentinel in the center of the yard. The gardener is at work, pruning the rose bushes with practiced hands, the shears clicking softly as they snip away dead stems. His movements are slow and deliberate, respectful of the plant's delicate nature. The smell of cut greenery mingles with the sweet floral notes, creating a calming sensory blend. You watch the bees hover near a cluster of lavender, their tiny wings beating a soft rhythm as they collect nectar. Nearby, a cat lays curled on the sun-warmed stone, its fur gleaming in the light. The cat stretches lazily, then settles back into a comfortable doze, adding a gentle purring to the chorus of afternoon sounds. The peacefulness of the courtyard contrasts with the steady pulse of activity inside the house. creating a balance between work and rest, noise and quiet as you stroll. Slowly along the garden path, the texture of gravel crunches softly beneath your boots. The path winds gently toward the vegetable garden, where rows of cabbages, carrots, and peas grow in neat lines. You can almost taste the freshness of the harvest, the crispness of a freshly picked carrot, the sweetness of young peas warmed by the sun. A young woman appears from the kitchen door, carrying a basket filled with freshly cut herbs and vegetables. Her face is flushed from the work, her hands steady and sure. She pauses to look at the flowers, brushing a stray lock of hair. Behind her ear, you imagine her thoughts, perhaps plans for the evening meal, or a quiet moment stolen to enjoy the garden's beauty before the next round of duties begins. Turning back toward the house, the afternoon light begins to soften again, the sun dipping lower toward the horizon. Shadows stretch across the courtyard, lengthening slowly. The air cools just a little, carrying a whisper of approaching evening. You notice the flicker of candlelight beginning to glow faintly in the kitchen window, a warm beacon against the coming dusk. As you re-enter the house, the sounds change subtly. The creak of floorboards beneath your feet, the faint rustle of fabric as a maid moves through the hallway, the distant chiming of a grandfather clock marking the passage of time. The house feels alive with history, every room holding memories and stories waiting to be told. In the parlor, the family prepares for the evening. You see the mother adjusting a vase of freshly cut flowers, the father reading quietly in an armchair by the fire. The children play softly on the rug, their laughter a gentle undercurrent that soothes the soul. This moment of domestic calm is a sanctuary amid the demands of the day. You take a seat by the window, watching as twilight deepens outside. The sky fades from warm gold to dusky blue, and the first stars begin to twinkle faintly. The world slows down, inviting you to breathe deeply and let go. You feel the steady pulse of life in this Edwardian household, hard work, quiet joys, and the timeless rhythms of home. As the room darkens and candlelight flickers softly, your thoughts drift with the shadows. You imagine yourself here, part of this peaceful scene, moving gently through the day's tasks and moments of rest. The house breathes around you, a cocoon of calm and comfort, ready to lull you into a restful sleep filled with dreams of quiet gardens, warm fires, and the soft murmur of everyday life, long past but never forgotten. As the day gently folds toward evening, you find yourself wandering through the quieter halls of the Edwardian household, where the hustle and bustle of daytime duties gradually softens into a peaceful calm. The thick carpets beneath your feet muffle every step, and the fading light outside filters through lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the walls. The house seems to breathe slowly now, each room holding a tranquil stillness, a respite from the ceaseless rhythm of chores and tasks. In the soft glow of an oil lamp on a polished side table, you notice the subtle shimmer of fine china arranged neatly on a low cabinet. The porcelain cups and saucers are delicate to the touch, their floral patterns telling stories of distant lands and careful craftsmanship. The quiet clink as you gently trace your fingers over the smooth surfaces is a gentle melody in the hush of the evening. You hear the faint murmur of voices drifting down the corridor, the lady of the house, perhaps discussing plans for the next day with a trusted companion, their words softened by distance and the thick wooden doors. The steady ticking of a mantel clock accompanies their quiet exchange, marking the passage of time with reassuring consistency. Moving slowly toward the dining room, the long polished table stretches before you, set meticulously with gleaming silverware and crisp linens. The air holds a faint trace of lavender, a lingering scent from the carefully ironed napkins and freshly polished surfaces. You imagine the upcoming meal: roasted meats, hearty root vegetables, fresh bread still warm from the oven, and a delicate dessert glistening in the candlelight dot. A gentle breeze flows through an open window, carrying with it the sound of distant church bells tolling the hour. Their deep, sonorous tones ripple through the evening air, mingling with the soft rustling of leaves in the garden beyond. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the harmony of nature and time wash over you, a soothing balm for your senses as you wander back toward the sitting room. The crackle of the fire in the hearth invites you closer. The flames flicker warmly, casting dancing shadows on the paneled walls, where portraits of stern-faced ancestors gaze down with timeless dignity. You notice the comforting weight of a well-worn armchair, its fabric soft and inviting. Sitting down slowly, you feel the steady support beneath you, grounding you in this moment of quiet reflection. The servant's footsteps echo softly as a butler passes through, his presence unobtrusive but essential to the household's smooth operation. His movements are deliberate and practiced, a quiet dance perfected through years of service. You sense the unspoken bond among the household staff, a shared understanding of duty and discretion, a rhythm that keeps the house alive yet serene. Outside, the garden is bathed in moonlight, silvering the leaves and petals with a gentle glow. The scent of jasmine and honeysuckle drifts in through the open window, a natural perfume that mingles with the warmth of the room. The nighttime chorus of crickets and owls creates a lullaby for the earth, a soundtrack that eases your mind toward rest. You imagine stepping out into this garden, the cool night air brushing softly against your skin. The gravel path crunches quietly underfoot. As you move slowly among the beds of herbs and flowers, each leaf and petal shimmering in the moon's glow. A solitary bench nestled beneath a flowering arbor invites you to sit and breathe deeply, the scent of the night blossoms filling your lungs with calm and peace. Nearby, a soft rustle signals the movement of a small animal, perhaps a hedgehog, foraging for food, or a family of mice scurrying quietly among the roots. The world of the garden is alive in its gentle nocturnal rhythm, a hidden life unfolding beneath the stars. Returning to the house, the sound of the grandfather clock strikes 9, its deep tones resonating through the stillness. The evening's quiet rituals unfold around you, the final preparations for bed. The careful extinguishing of lamps and candles, the soft closing of doors. The household settles into a peaceful slumber, each room a sanctuary of rest in the servants' quarters. You hear the faint sighs of tired bodies sinking into straw mattresses, the soft murmur of whispered goodnights. The camaraderie of shared hardships and simple comforts lingers in the air, a reminder that even in service, there is warmth and community. Your thoughts drift gently to the family upstairs, the masters of the house who retire to their rooms filled with heavy drapes and richly woven tapestries. The scent of lavender sachets placed in drawers lingers softly, a fragrant guardian of sleep. You imagine the quiet breathing of the household as it slips into dreams, the steady rhythm of rest anchoring the day's end as you settle into your own imagined place within this world. The slow turning of time becomes a gentle lullaby. The days and nights of the Edwardian era flow together, marked by simple routines, the changing seasons, and the enduring pulse of human life. You feel the weight of history softened by the intimacy of everyday moments, the brushing of hair, the pouring of tea, the tender glance shared across a quiet room. Outside, the moon climbs higher, casting a serene light over the landscape. Trees sway gently in the night breeze, their leaves whispering softly as if telling ancient secrets. The stars twinkle faintly above, distant and eternal witnesses to countless stories like yours, unfolding beneath their watchful gaze. Your breathing slows naturally, each inhale drawing in peace, each exhale releasing tension. The world of the Edwardian household fades softly into the background, a comforting memory to carry with you as you drift deeper into rest. The quiet, steady heartbeat of history surrounds you, a gentle reminder that even the smallest lives leave traces of light in the darkness. You feel safe. You feel calm. The house, the garden, the stars, they all invite you to surrender to the night's embrace. The day's tasks, the worries of tomorrow, all dissolve into the gentle night air. Here, in this moment, there is only peace. And with that peaceful thought, your eyes grow heavy. The soft rustling of curtains, the distant call of a night bird, the gentle crackling of embers in the hearth lull you toward a deep, restorative sleep. The Edwardian world, with all its quiet beauty and enduring rhythms, cradles you gently, carrying you toward dreams filled with calm and comfort. As the night deepens, the household settles into its quiet rhythms, and you find yourself drawn to the soft glow of the servants' quarters, where life hums gently beneath the surface of the grand estate. Here, the atmosphere is simpler, quieter, but no less alive. The air carries the faint scent of worn linens and polished wood, mingled with the subtle aroma of herbs tucked away in small bundles, remnants of the kitchen garden and the care given to healing and comfort. You imagine stepping softly through the narrow corridors, where muted footsteps echo with a comforting regularity. The sounds of whispered conversations, shared laughter, and occasional sighs of exhaustion create a tapestry of human connection woven into the fabric of this nightly world. Though the servants' lives are bound by duty and routine, they are also threaded with moments of quiet joy and resilience. Small acts of kindness that illuminate the long hours. Near a small hearth, you see a group gathered quietly, sharing stories, or perhaps the latest news from the village beyond the estate's walls. Their faces are warm and familiar, illuminated by the flickering flames, eyes reflecting a shared sense of endurance and hope. In these moments, the boundaries between master and servant blur, and the common threads of humanity come to the forefront outside. The garden has fully embraced the darkness, yet it remains alive with whispered sounds and gentle movements. The moon casts a silver sheen across the petals of night-blooming flowers, their delicate fragrances drifting in the cool air. You imagine wandering along a narrow garden path, the crunch of gravel beneath your feet softened by the velvet hush of night. The scent of damp earth mingles with the subtle sweetness of jasmine, a natural lullaby for the senses. Farther along, a small pond mirrors the moon and stars, its surface smooth and undisturbed. The occasional ripple disturbs the stillness, caused by a dragonfly skimming gracefully across the water, or a frog croaking softly from the reeds. This tranquil scene invites you to pause, to breathe deeply, and to feel the calm wash over you like a gentle wave. Returning to the house, you feel the comforting embrace of familiar spaces, the warm glow of the kitchen where pots and pans hang patiently, waiting for the morning's bustling activity. The scent of dried herbs and baking bread lingers faintly, a reminder of the nourishment that sustains both body and spirit. The soft ticking of a clock marks the steady passage of time, a reassuring heartbeat in the quiet in the sitting room. The fire's embers glow softly, casting a warm light on the richly textured tapestries and heavy drapes. The portraits of ancestors look on with timeless calm, guardians of a history lived in these very walls. The polished wood of tables and chairs gleams faintly in the firelight, the careful handiwork of skilled craftsmen long ago. You settle into a comfortable chair by the hearth, feeling the gentle warmth seep into your bones. The world outside grows quieter still, the night's embrace deepening with every breath. The distant call of an owl punctuates the silence, a solitary sound that blends with the soft rustle of curtains stirred by a gentle breeze. As you sit there, your thoughts drift to the family who inhabit this grand home, their lives shaped by privilege and expectation, yet also by the same human experiences that touch us all. You imagine the lady of the house, perhaps seated by her writing desk, penning letters illuminated by candlelight. Her handwriting is elegant and flowing, a reflection of education and refinement. Yet her words carry the weight of concerns, both personal and worldly. Upstairs, the master of the house might be reading by lamplight, his face shadowed by the brim of a worn hat as he ponders affairs of business or estate management. The slow turning of pages is a quiet counterpoint to the stillness, a reminder that even in the calm, life continues to unfold. The children's rooms are hushed now, their day's adventures replaced by dreams filled with wonder and innocence. The soft rustling of sheets and whispered breaths tell stories of comfort and safety, of a world protected from harm by walls, both physical and unseen. Your mind lingers on these intimate details, each one a thread in the tapestry of Edwardian life. The complexity of social roles, the interplay of light and shadow, the blend of duty and desire, all these elements come together to form a picture, both rich and soothing. Outside, the stars continue their silent vigil, sparkling with ancient light across the vast canvas of the night sky. Their distant brilliance invites you to relax even deeper, to let go of worries and tensions, to drift into a place where time slows and peace prevails. You feel your body soften into the chair, each breath growing slower, more rhythmic. The warmth of the fire, the calm of the night, the gentle pulse of history surrounding you, all combine to create a cocoon of safety and rest. With every passing moment, your eyelids grow heavier, your thoughts quieter. The world of the Edwardian household fades gently into a soothing dreamscape, where past and present mingle in a dance of light and shadow, and as sleep draws near, you carry with you the gentle comfort of this place, a world of quiet dignity, of small joys and enduring rhythms. The echoes of laughter, the scent of lavender, the soft murmur of evening prayers, all these linger as a lullaby, guiding you gently into the night's embrace. In this space between waking and dreaming, you are cradled by history, wrapped in the soft folds of time. The house breathes quietly around you. The garden whispers softly outside, and the stars above watch kindly over your rest. You are safe. You are at peace. And in this moment, you are free to let go, to drift, and to sleep. You step softly into the quiet harbor of the ancient city, the morning mist still lingering like a whispered secret over the water's edge. The slow, rhythmic lap of gentle waves against wooden piers sets a calming pulse, a heartbeat that invites you to breathe deeply and settle into this timeless moment. The air carries a salty temps, mingled with the faint scent of pine from nearby forests and the soft, earthy aroma of wet stone and seaweed. As you walk along the weathered cobblestones, your footsteps muted by the thick fog, the harbor gradually awakens. Fishermen prepare their boats, the creak of timber and the soft slap of sails unfolding, creating a gentle symphony. Nets are carefully folded and tossed onto sturdy vessels, while the occasional call of seabirds adds a natural melody to the scene. It is a world balanced between human endeavor and the quiet forces of nature. Nearby, the market square begins to stir. Stalls draped with woven fabrics in muted earth tones are being arranged with care. The scent of fresh bread mingles with the sharp, fresh smell of herbs and the subtle spice of dried fish hung in the shade. A young woman arranges bundles of wildflowers on her wooden cart, their colors muted in the soft dawn light, but no less vibrant to the eye. You pause for a moment, taking in the warm hues of the rising sun filtering through the mist. The muted chatter of merchants greeting one another with gentle smiles and the occasional soft laugh. A calm settles over the scene, inviting you to move forward at a leisurely pace, allowing your senses to absorb each detail. Not far from the market, a narrow alley leads you to the scribe's quarters. Here, a young man named Alaric carries his scrolls carefully beneath the moonlight. His footsteps are light but purposeful, the parchment crinkling softly beneath his worn cloak. His face lit by the glow of a lantern he holds, reveals a quiet determination mixed with a touch of weariness. Alaric is a keeper of stories, a guardian of knowledge in a time when history is recorded by hand, word by word. He moves through the ancient city. He passes familiar stone archways and carved wooden doors, each telling silent stories of generations past. The scent of ink and parchment lingers in the cool night air, a comforting reminder of his craft. The city itself is a mosaic of quiet moments and hidden corners, courtyards filled with climbing ivy and the soft murmur of fountains. Gardens bursting with herbs and wildflowers, tended carefully by dedicated hands. The architecture is a blend of sturdy stone walls, wooden beams, and thatched roofs, all softened by the passage of time and the gentle touch of moss and lichen. You find yourself wandering beside a narrow river that threads its way through the city, the water clear and slow-moving, reflecting the stars above like a liquid mirror. The soft rustle of reeds and the distant call of a night bird create a tranquil soundtrack, soothing and unhurried. As you continue, your path takes you to the edge of the city walls, where sentries keep watch in quiet vigilance. Their measured footsteps patrol the ramparts, the occasional clink of armor a steady rhythm against the stillness of night. They exchange brief, whispered words, their faces set with the calm focus of those charged with protection. The gentle glow of torches flickers along the battlements, casting dancing shadows that play across the stone. The air here carries the faint scent of smoke from distant hearth fires, blending with the crisp freshness of the evening breeze. Throughout this journey, you feel the slow passage of time, the natural rhythm of a day lived in harmony with the environment and community. Every detail is soft and textured, a balm for restless thoughts, guiding you deeper into relaxation. You imagine the world as Alaric sees it, the city alive with history, its secrets held gently in every corner and crevice waiting to be uncovered. His footsteps are steady, his breath even, his mind focused yet calm, embodying the patience and care of a historian dedicated to preserving the past. The slow unfolding of daily life continues, the quiet opening of a bakery's door, the gentle clatter of wooden shutters raised to let in morning light, the soft chatter of neighbors exchanging news as they tend to small chores. Each sound and scent weaves into the tapestry of the city's peaceful morning, inviting you to feel grounded and serene. As the sun climbs higher, the mist begins to lift, revealing the full expanse of the harbor and the bustling activity of ships unloading their goods. The creak of ropes and the murmur of sailors discussing their journeys form a gentle background hum, steady and reassuring. You walk slowly among the boats, watching as crates are carefully unloaded and barrels rolled along wooden planks. The air here is cooler, carrying the scent of fresh fish mingled with tar and salt. The horizon stretches wide, a vast expanse of blue meeting sky and sea, promising distant adventures and quiet reflection as the day unfolds. You sense the steady heartbeat of life, a balance of work and rest, of routine and quiet moments, of wonder. This ancient city, with its timeless rhythms and enduring stories, becomes a sanctuary for your mind and spirit, a place where you can let go and simply be. In the gentle company of Alaric, keeper of the scrolls, and the calm presence of the harbor's early morning, you find yourself drifting slowly toward a peaceful rest. The stories he carries, the city he walks, and the soft embrace of history itself surrounds you in a cocoon of calm and safety. And as you breathe deeply, the whispers of the past mingle with the softness of the present moment, guiding you gently, steadily, toward a night of deep, restorative sleep. You step softly into the awakening city as the first light of dawn stretches its fingers across the sky, turning the horizon a soft palette of rose and amber. The air is cool and carries the subtle, comforting scent of damp earth mingled with smoke from distant hearth fires. The city stirs slowly, as if reluctant to fully leave behind the tranquility of night. Each breath you take is deep and steady, inviting your body and mind to settle gently, like the quiet stirring of this ancient place before you. Narrow streets wind between buildings of weathered stone and timber, their facades softened by years of moss and the tender touch of climbing vines. These homes and shops, built long ago by skilled hands, form a patchwork of quiet charm. The cobbled streets glisten faintly with the dew that still clings to their surfaces, and the gentle echo of your footsteps blends seamlessly with the distant murmurs of early arcers. As you wander further, the muted bustle of the marketplace begins to awaken. Stalls draped with faded cloth and simple wooden signs are being readied by vendors whose movements are calm and methodical. The scent of freshly baked bread mingles with the subtle aroma of herbs and spices, sage, thyme, and the faintest trace of cinnamon carried on a soft breeze. A young woman carefully arranges baskets of fruits, apples dusted with morning frost, pears blushing softly under the sun's first rays. You pause to breathe in the serene melody of this place, this soft murmur of conversation, the rustle of fabric as merchants prepare for the day, the gentle clinking of ceramic pots and tin cups being stacked. Overhead, a flock of doves takes flight with quiet wings, their feathers shimmering in the dawn light. The sky above is vast and tender, painted in gentle hues that soothe and invite calm. Nearby, the harbor lies still, its waters shimmering like molten glass, reflecting the sky's awakening hues. Fishing boats bob quietly, tethered with ropes that creak softly in the morning breeze. The faint scent of salt and seaweed drifts through the air, carrying with it memories of distant voyages and the patient rhythms of the tide. You imagine the fishermen preparing their nets and sails, their hands practiced and sure despite the early hour. The low hum of their voices blends with the distant call of seabirds settling in the masts. Each sound is soft and deliberate, like the turning pages of a well-loved book, drawing you further into the peaceful embrace of the city. Turning away from the harbor, you find yourself at the entrance of a quiet courtyard. Stone walls encircle a garden where wildflowers bloom in gentle bursts of color-pale bluebells, creamy daisies, and delicate lavender that fills the air with its soothing fragrance. A fountain at the center bubbles quietly, the sound of water, a soft lullaby that blends with the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by a light breeze. In the gentle company of Alaric, keeper of the scrolls, and the calm presence of the harbor's early morning, you find yourself drifting slowly toward a peaceful rest. The stories he carries, the city he walks, and the soft embrace of history itself surround you in a cocoon of calm and safety. And as you breathe deeply, the whispers of the past mingle with the softness of the present moment, guiding you gently, steadily, toward a night of deep, restorative sleep. You step softly into the awakening city as the first light of dawn stretches its fingers across the sky, turning the horizon a soft palette of rose and amber. The air is cool and carries the subtle, comforting scent of damp earth mingled with smoke from distant hearth fires. The city stirs slowly, as if reluctant to fully leave behind the tranquility of night. Each breath you take is deep and steady, inviting your body and mind to settle gently, like the quiet stirring of this ancient place. Before you, narrow streets wind between buildings of weathered stone and timber, their facades softened by years of moss and the tender touch of climbing vines. These homes and shops, built long ago by skilled hands, form a patchwork of quiet charm. The cobbled streets glisten faintly with the dew that still clings to their surfaces, and the gentle echo of your footsteps blends seamlessly with the distant murmurs of early arcers. As you wander further, the muted bustle of the marketplace begins to awaken. Stalls draped with faded cloth and simple wooden signs are being readied by vendors whose movements are calm and methodical. The scent of freshly Baked bread mingles with the subtle aroma of herbs and spices, sage, thyme, and the faintest trace of cinnamon carried on a soft breeze. A young woman carefully arranges baskets of fruit samples dusted with morning frost, pears blushing softly under the sun's first rays. You pause to breathe in the serene melody of this place, the soft murmur of conversation, the rustle of fabric as merchants prepare for the day, the gentle clinking of ceramic pots and tin cups being stacked. Overhead, a flock of doves takes flight with quiet wings, their feathers shimmering in the dawn light. The sky above is vast and tender, painted in gentle hues that soothe and invite calm. Nearby, the harbor lies still, its waters shimmering like molten glass, reflecting the sky's awakening hues. Fishing boats bob quietly, tethered with ropes, that creak softly in the morning breeze. The faint scent of salt and seaweed drifts through the air, carrying with it memories of distant voyages and the patient rhythms of the tide. You imagine the fishermen preparing their nets and sails, their hands practiced and sure despite the early hour. The low hum of their voices blends with the distant call of seabirds settling in the masts. Each sound is soft and deliberate, like the turning pages of a well-loved book, drawing you further into the peaceful embrace of the city. Turning away from the harbor, you find yourself at the entrance of a quiet courtyard. Stone walls encircle a garden where wildflowers bloom in gentle bursts of color-pale bluebells, creamy daisies, and delicate lavender that fills the air with its soothing fragrance. A fountain at the center bubbles quietly, the sound of water, a soft lullaby that blends with the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by a light breeze. As you return to the heart of the city, the day begins anew with soft sounds, the opening of wooden shutters, the creak of doors, and the distant laughter of children playing in the square. The rhythm of daily life unfolds slowly and gently, each moment a soft note in the city's ongoing melody. You watch as neighbors exchange quiet greetings, as hands move skillfully to prepare food, mend clothing, and tend gardens. The scent of fresh herbs and wood smoke fills the air, mingling with the warmth of friendship and community. This is a world lived simply but fully, where every gesture holds meaning and every breath is a chance to connect with the life around you. Throughout your journey, the presence of Alaric remains a steady anchor. His quiet diligence and gentle reverence for the past mirror your own slow unfolding into peace. Together, you move through the city's stories and rhythms, the boundaries between listener and character blurring in the shared experience of history, and rest as the morning sun climbs higher, casting golden light over rooftops and cobblestones. A profound sense of calm settles within you. The ancient city, with its slow-moving days and tender secrets, becomes a sanctuary for your mind and spirit, a place where the rush of the modern world fades into distant memory. In this space, you're invited to let go, to release any tension or worry, and to simply be. The soft embrace of history and the gentle rhythm of daily life guide you toward a deeper relaxation, a peaceful stillness that will carry you gently into restful sleep. And as the city hums quietly around you, you feel the soothing presence of time itself, a reminder that in the steady flow of moments, there is always a place for calm, for peace, and for the quiet renewal of the soul. As the morning light softens into the warm glow of late morning, you find yourself moving deeper into the heart of the city. The sounds around you become more pronounced, yet remain gentle, soft footsteps on cobblestone, the distant murmur of voices sharing stories and news, and the faint clinking of tools shaping wood and metal in quiet workshops. The air carries the mingled scents of earth and hearth, a comforting mix of fresh herbs drying on racks, faint smoke from cooking fires, and the rich, comforting aroma of freshly churned butter and baking bread. The city is alive with purposeful calm, a rhythm that invites you to slow your breath and sink fully into this peaceful moment. Along the main street, marketplace has begun to buzz with quiet activity. Vendors arrange their goods with care woven. Baskets of nuts and dried fruits, bundles of fragrant herbs, and carefully wrapped parcels of smoked fish. You pause beside a stall where a kindly woman smiles gently, her hands deftly weaving reeds into delicate baskets. Her eyes meet yours, warm and welcoming, and you feel the simple joy of human connection, even across the divide of time. Nearby, the rhythmic tapping of a blacksmith's hammer creates a steady cadence, blending harmoniously with the ambient sounds of the town. Sparks flicker like tiny stars as the metalworker shapes iron on the anvil, the glow reflecting in your eyes as you watch the slow transformation of raw material into tools of everyday life. The blacksmith's workshop smells faintly of coal and sweat, a scent that speaks of hard work and quiet pride. Walking past the bustling street, you catch glimpses of daily rituals unfolding in the homes lining the way. A mother gently cradles a sleeping child wrapped in hand-woven cloth, her fingers tracing soothing patterns on the baby's soft cheeks. Through an open window, the sound of a lute drifts out, a melodic, unhurried tune that drifts softly on the breeze, filling the air with a sense of gentle comfort. In the town square, a group of elders gather beneath the shade of an ancient oak tree, their voices low and steady as they share tales from times long past. The wrinkles etched into their faces tell stories of seasons weathered and memories held close. Their laughter rises like a gentle tide, mingling with the rustle of leaves and the distant song of a nightingale hidden among the branches. You feel drawn to this circle of wisdom, sensing the quiet strength that flows from shared experience and quiet reflection. Their stories, though unhurried, are rich with the textures of life, the turning of seasons, the planting and harvesting, the ebb and flow of joys and sorrows that have shaped this place through the ages. Nearby, a young apprentice tends a small garden patch beside a modest cottage. His hands move carefully among the rows of herbs and vegetables, brushing away stray leaves and patting the earth gently around new seedlings. The scent of mint and rosemary rises softly, mingling with the warm sunshine and the fresh earth beneath your feet. The apprentice pauses, wiping sweat from his brow with a linen sleeve, and looks up with a smile. You sense his quiet hopefulness, a desire to nurture and grow, to be part of the endless cycle of life that sustains the community. His world is one of small miracles, where every sprout is a promise, and every flower a quiet celebration. As you follow the path beyond the garden, the landscape begins to open up, revealing the gentle sweep of rolling hills and fields stretching toward the horizon. Golden wheat sways in slow waves beneath a sky brushed with pale clouds, the whole scene bathed in a soft, hazy light that invites restfulness. The distant sound of a plow moving steadily through the soil carries on the breeze, accompanied by the low murmur of voices guiding oxen through their work. The farmer's life is steady and demanding, marked by patience and intimate knowledge of the land's rhythms. You feel the deep connection between human and earth, Hera, bond that has nourished generations and will continue long after this. Day fades. Moving along a shaded lane, you come upon a small chapel nestled between ancient oaks. Its stone walls are cool and moss-covered, and the wooden door creaks softly as it opens to reveal a quiet interior lit by shafts of pale sunlight, filtering through stained glass. The air inside smells faintly of incense and beeswax, a sacred calm resting in the stillness. Within, a solitary figure kneels in prayer, their whispered words lost in the hush. The quiet devotion fills the space with a gentle reverence, reminding you of the timeless search for peace and meaning that echoes through history. Here, in this place of contemplation, the worries of the day seem distant and softened. Stepping back outside, you continue along the path as the afternoon sun begins to lower, casting long shadows that stretch lazily across the ground. The air cools slightly, carrying with it the sweet scent of wildflowers and ripe berries hanging heavy on low bushes. A narrow stream gurgles softly nearby, its clear water tumbling over smooth stones worn by time. You pause at its edge, watching. The play of light on the rippling surface, the water's gentle murmur soothing and steady. The presence of nature here feels profound, a reminder of the quiet persistence of life and the slow, steady flow of time. Nearby, a group of villagers gathers around a communal fire, preparing a simple meal of stewed vegetables and fresh bread. The scent of simmering herbs and roasting meat drifts through the air, mingling with laughter and quiet conversation. You sense the comfort of shared moments, where the day's labors are set aside for rest and connection. As evening descends, lanterns flicker to life, their soft glow casting a golden warmth over the village streets. The sounds of the day quiet to a gentle hush, replaced by the distant hoot of an owl and the soft rustling of leaves stirred by a gentle breeze. You follow Alaric as he returns to his small study, where the flickering light of a candle dances across the pages of his scrolls. His fingers trace the carefully written words, a quiet reverence in his eyes. The world outside fades softly as he loses himself in the wisdom of those who came before. The past and present intertwining in the calm of this moment, in this tranquil space, surrounded by history and the gentle rhythms of daily life. Your breathing slows and deepens. The steady pulse of the city, the soft murmur of voices, the whisper of wind through trees, all these sounds weave a soothing tapestry that invites your mind to rest. As night fully settles, the stars emerge, scattered like scattered jewels across the velvet sky. Their quiet brilliance watches over the sleeping city, a timeless presence that comforts and reassures. You feel yourself drifting, gently carried by the calm currents of history and time. Here, in the embrace of the ancient city and the quiet dedication of its people, you are invited to let go completely, to surrender to the soothing flow of breath and heartbeat, to rest in the peaceful stillness that surrounds you. And as the world sleeps, you journey deeper into restful dreams, held safely in the gentle arms of history and the quiet promise of a new dawn. As twilight gently fades and the sky softens into hues of deep blue and violet, you find yourself wandering through the quieter lanes of the city. The streets here are narrower, paved with smooth stones worn by countless footsteps over the years. The fading light casts long shadows that dance gently against the walls of timber-framed houses, their windows glowing softly with candlelight, promising warmth and refuge from the cool evening air. You notice the subtle scent of wood smoke mingling with the fragrant aroma of herbs drying on racks outside doorways, lavender, rosemary, all carefully tended by the inhabitants to preserve their precious medicines and flavors. The peaceful murmur of night settles like a soft blanket over the city, wrapping it in a tranquil embrace that invites slow breaths and quiet thoughts. A figure appears ahead, a young woman named Alawan, a weaver known for her delicate tapestries that tell the stories of the town's history. She moves gracefully along the street, carrying a basket filled with freshly spun wool dyed in soft earth tones. Her footsteps are light, her expression serene yet purposeful, reflecting the pride she takes in her craft. The glow from her lantern flickers softly, revealing her gentle smile as she greets familiar faces with a nod or a whispered, "Good evening." You follow Eloan's path as she arrives at her humble workshop, a small room above the bakery, where the comforting scent of freshly baked bread drifts upward. Inside, her loom stands ready, and the rhythmic clatter of shuttle against thread begins. A steady, hypnotic sound that fills the space with calm energy. Watching her work, you sense the centuries-old tradition woven into every fiber, a legacy carried forward by hands that cherish the past even as they create for the future. Outside, the streets grow quieter as night deepens. The flickering lanterns cast soft pools of light, their gentle glow reflected in the calm waters of the nearby river. You step closer to the riverbank, where the surface mirrors the starlit sky above. The gentle lap of water against the shore is accompanied by the faint calls of night birds, their songs low and soothing. The world seems to hold its breath here, caught between waking and dreaming, inviting you to let go and simply be. Along the river, you see a small boat tethered to a weathered wooden dock. A fisherman named Joran prepares his nets under the dim glow of a lantern. His movements are slow and methodical, practiced over years of early mornings and long days spent on the water. He hums softly to himself, a melody passed down from his father, carrying the rhythms of the river and the pulse of the natural world. You sense the deep connection Joran has with the river, the way he reads its moods and currents, the respect he holds for the life it sustains. His hands move deftly, untangling the nets and preparing them for the dawn's catch. The air is cool and fresh here, filled with a subtle scent of wet wood and river plants, grounding you in the peaceful stillness of this place. As you continue along the riverbank, the distant chiming of bells marks the passing of the hour. The sound is clear and pure, echoing softly across the water and through the sleeping town. It calls the faithful to evening prayers, a ritual woven into the fabric of daily life and a reminder of the enduring faith that sustains the community. Drawn by the sound, you approach a small stone chapel nestled among ancient trees. Its stained glass windows glow faintly in the moonlight, casting colorful patterns on the ground below. Inside, the air is cool and fragrant with the scent of incense and burning candles. A small group of villagers kneels in quiet devotion, their whispered prayers rising like gentle waves, filling the space with a serene reverence. Among them is Father Seelan, a kindly man whose deep voice carries the wisdom of years spent guiding and comforting his flock. His presence is a steady anchor in the ebb and flow of life, a symbol of hope and continuity. You feel a sense of peace here, a calm born from centuries of shared belief and ritual. A space where worries are softened and souls are nourished. Leaving the chapel, you wander back toward the town center, where the marketplace has fallen silent and the shops are shuttered for the night. The cool night air is scented with the faint trace of baked goods and dried flowers. Street lamps flicker softly, their light casting gentle shadows on the worn cobblestones. Ahead, a group of night watchmen begins their patrol. Their footsteps are measured and deliberate, their quiet voices carrying as they pass through the sleeping streets. They are the guardians of the town's safety, vigilant and calm. Their presence a reassuring thread woven through the night's quiet fabric. As you walk alongside them, the rhythm of their patrol becomes a soothing mantra, a steady beat that guides your breath and slows your thoughts. You sense the trust the townspeople place in these watchmen, a trust born from generations of shared life and mutual care. Further along, you glimpse a pair of lovers meeting beneath the ancient archway. At the edge of the town, their whispers are soft and intimate, carried away gently by the night breeze. The glow of the moonlight casts a silver sheen over their faces, highlighting the tenderness in their eyes and the quiet joy of connection. The world around you feels alive with small, precious moments of love, work, faith, and community that together form the rich tapestry of this ancient town. Each breath you take is filled with the quiet pulse of life, steady and enduring, inviting you deeper into rest. As the night deepens, the city settles fully into silence. The stars overhead twinkle with a gentle brilliance, their light a timeless reminder of the vastness of the universe and the small, peaceful place you now inhabit within it. You find yourself drawn to a quiet garden behind one of the homes, where moonflowers bloom with delicate fragrance, their petals glowing softly in the night. The air is cool and sweet, carrying the faint rustle of leaves and the distant song of a nightingale. Here, in this tranquil sanctuary, you feel the gentle rhythm of your own heart slowing, syncing with the peaceful pulse of the world around you. The worries and busyness of the day fall away like leaves on a still pond, leaving only calm and quiet. You close your eyes for a moment, breathing in the soft night air, and as you exhale, you feel yourself drifting gently toward sleep. The soothing sounds, the comforting scents, and the slow, steady rhythms of the ancient city cradle you, inviting you to rest deeply and peacefully. In this moment, surrounded by history and the gentle night, you are safe. You are home. As dawn's first light begins to softly touch the horizon, the ancient city stirs once more. The sky shifts through gentle shades of pink and lavender, the air crisp and cool with the promise of a new day. You step quietly through the awakening streets, feeling the coolness of the cobblestones beneath your feet, still damp with morning dew. The smell of fresh earth and blooming wildflowers drifts in from the nearby meadows, mingling with the faint, smoky scent of wood fires kindling in hearths throughout the town. From the distance, you hear the low murmur of villagers beginning their daily routines, the gentle clatter of pots and pans, the soft chatter of early risers greeting each other, and the distant call of roosters welcoming the sunrise. Ahead, the marketplace comes alive in slow, peaceful rhythm. Stalls fashioned from rough-hewn timber and bright canvas awnings open their flaps, revealing arrays of fresh produce, hand-woven cloth, and simple tools. The colors here are muted but warm earthy browns, soft greens, deep reds blending harmoniously into the pastoral surroundings. You move through the crowd, noticing the ease of movement, the unhurried pace of the townsfolk as they prepare for the day. Children chase one another with playful laughter, their bare feet light on the dusty ground. An elderly woman carefully arranges bundles of fragrant herbs, sage, mint, and chamomile, her hands steady despite the years etched gently on her face. Her smile is kind as she greets neighbors, embodying the quiet strength of this community. Nearby, a blacksmith named Thomas pounds rhythmically at a glowing piece of iron, the sparks flying like tiny stars in the early morning light. His strong arms move with practiced precision, shaping tools and horseshoes that will serve the town throughout the seasons. The metallic scent of the forge blends with the natural aromas of the market, creating a rich tapestry of sensory detail. You pause for a moment to watch Thomas work, mesmerized by the steady cadence of his hammer and the heat that ripples through the air. Around him, apprentices listen attentively, absorbing skills passed down through generations, their faces alight with curiosity and determination. Moving on, you find yourself drawn to the bakery, where the warm scent of freshly baked bread beckons you closer. Inside, the baker's wife kneads dough with gentle care, her hands working slowly and deliberately. The soft glow of the oven's fire flickers against the walls, casting a comforting light on the simple, well-worn furnishings. Ooh, breathe in deeply, savoring the aroma of yeast and toasted crust, feeling a sense of comfort wash over you. The bakery is a heart of the community, place where stories are shared and friendships are nurtured over steaming loaves and sweet pastries. Outside, the streets hum softly with life. You notice a small group of women gathered near the well, their voices low and melodic as they exchange news and laughter while drawing fresh water. The well itself is a sturdy stone structure, its surface smoothed by countless hands over the years, a silent witness to the flow of daily life nearby. A shepherd guides his flock along a gentle hillside, the soft bleating of sheep blending with the whisper of the wind through the tall grass. The shepherd's dog darts agilely among the animals, herding them with skillful ease. The landscape stretches out around you in a gentle embrace, rolling hills dotted with wildflowers, patches of ancient woodland, and the slow, steady flow of a winding river. You pause to take in the vastness of the natural world here, feeling a calm connection to the land that sustains the town. The rhythm of life follows the cycles of the seasons, the rising and setting sun. The steady turn of the earth, a timeless dance that continues quietly beneath the surface of history. As the morning progresses, you find yourself wandering toward the town's ancient chapel, its stone walls bathed in soft sunlight. The bell tower stands tall, its silhouette etched sharply against the sky. You step inside, greeted by the coolness of the shadowed interior and the faint scent of burning beeswax candles. A small group of villagers gathers here for morning prayer, their voices rising in gentle harmony. Among them is Brother Aidan, young monk whose serene presence offers comfort and guidance. His calm, measured words weave through the space, inviting reflection and peace. You sit quietly, feeling the soothing cadence of the prayers wash over you like a gentle wave. The chapel, with its simple wooden pews and stained glass windows, feels like a sanctuary not only for the body, but also for the spirit, a place to pause and gather strength before stepping back into the world outside. Leaving the chapel, you make your way to the edge of town, where the forest begins. The air here is cooler and tinged with the fresh scent of pine and damp earth. Shafts of sunlight filter through the canopy, creating dappled patterns on the forest floor. Birds sing softly from hidden branches, their songs a quiet symphony that accompanies your steps. You follow a narrow path winding deeper into the woods. The soft crunch of leaves and twigs underfoot, grounding you in the present moment. The forest feels alive, timeless, a vast cathedral of nature where every leaf and stone holds a story. Along the way, you meet Ira, a healer known for her knowledge of plants and ancient remedies. She gathers herbs with practiced hands, speaking softly about the healing properties of each leaf and root. Her voice is gentle, like a lullaby, and her presence radiates a quiet wisdom. Together, you explore the surrounding plants, the delicate petals of the wild violet, the sharp scent of rosemary, the cooling touch of mint. Ira's stories connect you to the natural world in new ways, revealing the deep relationship between people and the earth. As the day wears on, you return to the town, your senses enriched by the sights, sounds, and stories of the morning. The peaceful flow of life here invites you to slow your pace, breathe deeply, and sink further into a restful calm. You find a quiet bench beneath a blooming apple tree, its branches heavy with fragrant blossoms. The soft rustle of petals in the breeze creates a soothing melody, a gentle lullaby sung by nature itself. You close your eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin and the gentle pulse of life around you. In this serene moment, surrounded by history and the natural world, you feel your body and mind begin to relax deeply. The worries and noise of the modern world fade away, replaced by a timeless calm and peace. You breathe slowly, fully present in the here and now, carried gently by the rhythms of this ancient town and the stories it holds. The journey continues, softly, like a whisper in the wind, guiding you toward rest and quiet dreams. As the afternoon sunlight begins to mellow, casting long golden shadows over the ancient city, you find yourself drawn toward the outskirts where the gentle hum of daily labor blends harmoniously with the natural landscape, the distant clatter of wooden wheels on dirt roads, the rhythmic thud of hammers shaping timber, and the low murmur of voices creates a peaceful symphony that speaks of steady, purposeful life. You stroll along a narrow lane lined with modest homes made of weathered stone and timber. The scent of freshly tilled earth mingles with the faint aroma of wood smoke curling lazily from chimneys. Birds flit from branch to branch in the small gardens, where bright wildflowers sway gently in the breeze, their colors soft yet vivid against the muted tones of the buildings. Nearby, you notice a group of farmers gathered around a trough, their hands calloused yet gentle as they tend to horses and oxen. The animals stand patiently, their breaths visible in the cool afternoon air. You can almost feel the texture of their coarse fur and the steady warmth radiating from their bodies. One farmer, A man named Cedric pauses from his work to greet you. His voice is low and kind as he speaks of the coming harvest, the cycles of planting and reaping that sustain this community. He gestures toward the fields stretching beyond the village, golden waves of wheat swaying softly. Kissed by the light dot in the fields, women bend gracefully as they gather bundles of grain, their movements slow and deliberate. The soft rustle of straw and the quiet murmur of their songs blend with the natural sounds around you, creating a lullaby of labor and life. Children play nearby, chasing each other with carefree laughter that dances lightly on the breeze. You follow the path toward the river that winds gently through the landscape, its surface shimmering under the afternoon sun like a ribbon of liquid glass. The sound of water flowing over smooth stones is soothing and constant, a gentle companion to your wandering thoughts. Along the riverbank, fishermen cast their nets with practiced ease, their faces calm and focused. You watch as a small boat glides silently across the water, its oars dipping rhythmically into the cool depths. The scent of wet wood and fresh fish mingles with the earthy aroma of the riverbank, grounding you firmly in this moment of quiet beauty. Nearby, a cluster of villagers gathers around a communal fire, preparing a simple meal. The crackling flames send flickers of warm light dancing across their faces, and the inviting smell of roasting herbs and fresh bread drifts through the air. You can almost taste the savory richness of the stew simmering in the pot. The comfort of shared meals and stories. As evening approaches, the city's pace slows further, wrapping itself in a soft, calming hush. Lanterns are lit one by one, their flickering flames casting gentle pools of light that dance on cobblestones and walls. The glow reveals the worn textures of ancient buildings, the moss and ivy clinging lovingly to the stonework. You find yourself near the town square, where a few townsfolk linger, exchanging quiet words beneath the deepening twilight. The distant sound of a lute strumming a gentle melody drifts through the air, its notes tender and soothing. A storyteller, seated on a wooden bench, begins weaving tales of old legends, of heroes and forgotten kingdoms, whispered histories, carried on the wind. Listening, you feel the weight of centuries in the air, the rich tapestry of human experience unfolding softly around you. The city breathes its stories like a living thing, inviting you to rest within its timeless embrace. Nearby, a young scribe named Alaric moves with careful steps, carrying his scrolls and ink under the pale glow of the rising moon. His eyes reflect quiet determination and a deep love for the written word. He pauses to gaze at the starlit sky, the constellations shimmering like ancient secrets overhead. Alaric's soft voice carries your thoughts deeper into the night. He speaks of the importance of preserving stories, of the delicate balance between memory and time. His gentle words wrap around you like a warm shawl, soothing and steady, inviting your mind to slow, to drift as darkness settles fully. The cities. Sounds grow softer still, the distant bark of a watchman's dog, the faint rustle of leaves stirred by a cool night breeze. The world seems to hold its breath, poised on the edge between wakefulness and sleep. You find a quiet corner beneath an ancient oak tree, its massive branches spreading wide like protective arms. The earth beneath you is soft and cool, the scent of moss and pine grounding you in this moment of peace. Above, the stars burn steadily, each a tiny beacon in the vast night sky. Breathing deeply, you feel your body relax further, sinking into the calm that surrounds you. The stories of the day settle gently into your mind, their rhythms mingling with the natural world's lullaby. In this serene stillness, you become part of the timeless flow of history, connected to the people, the land, and the quiet moments that weave together to create a life lived slowly, fully, and peacefully. The journey continues softly, guiding you ever deeper into rest. Carried on the whisper of ancient winds and the steady pulse of the earth beneath your feet. Welcome, dear listener, to this quiet journey back in time, where we will gently drift into the shadows and soft light of a world long past. Tonight, we invite you to relax deeply, to breathe slowly and calmly, and to let your mind and body settle into peaceful rest. As you settle comfortably into your favorite place of relaxation, allow the steady rhythm of your breath to slow with ease, in through your nose, and out through your mouth, softly, naturally, like a gentle breeze moving through the trees. Feel the weight of your body supported fully, sinking deeper with each exhale. Grounded and safe. Tonight's story carries us to a time often called the Dark Ages, a period shrouded in mystery and silence for many. Yet beneath that quiet veil, life stirred in simple, complex, and profoundly human ways. We will explore what life was really like for those born into this era, the sights, sounds, textures, and rhythms that shaped everyday existence. This is not a hurried tale, but a calm, immersive passage meant to soothe and settle you into rest. Gently drawing you through history's unfolding tapestry, as you breathe in calm and breathe out tension. Imagine the soft crackle of a nearby fire, its warm glow casting flickering shadows that dance quietly along rough wooden walls. The faint scent of burning wood drifts through the cool evening air, mingling with the earthy aroma of moss and damp stone. Outside, the soft whistle of a mild wind slips through the branches of ancient oaks, their leaves rustling gently, like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. This is the setting for your journey, a world where light is scarce, but the human spirit burns steadily, quietly enduring. Let the soothing background of distant night sounds carry you farther away from the noise and rush of the modern day. Imagine the soft echo of footsteps on worn cobblestones, the hushed murmurs of a small village settling down for the night, occasional hoot of an owl watching over the quiet fields. Your mind is free to wander slowly and peacefully through this scene, taking in the comforting textures of a simpler time. Tonight's tale is a history sleep story designed to relax your mind and body. The gentle unfolding of events, the vivid sensory details, and the calming rhythm of narration are all woven together to lull you deeper into restful calm. The aim is to invite you into a meditative space where you can feel safe, serene, and ready to slip into restorative sleep. As you listen, your breathing may deepen, your muscles may soften, and your thoughts may drift lightly, like clouds passing in a soft, twilight sky. As we begin, know that this story is your quiet companion, a gentle voice inviting you to journey slowly and calmly through the past. There is no hurry here, only space to breathe, observe, and settle. The story flows at a gentle pace, with pauses that allow you to sink more deeply into comfort, more fully into stillness. Picture yourself stepping out of your familiar world and into a simple village, tucked away in the folds of rolling hills and shadowed forests. The year is long ago, but the sensations you will feel: cool air on your skin, the touch of rough linen, the scent of wood smoke and herbs are as vivid and alive as the present moment. Imagine the soft glow of oil lamps flickering behind small windows, the muted clatter of pots, and the occasional low murmur of voices sharing stories by the fire. This peaceful, sleepy atmosphere stretches all around you. The homes are humble, built with stone and timber, sturdy enough to shelter families through the long, often cold nights. The streets are quiet now, but they carry the echoes of a day filled with work, laughter, and simple joys. In this world, time is measured not by clocks, but by the rising and setting of the sun, by the changing of the seasons, and by the rhythm of daily tasks. Feel the gentle pull of this calm world where life moves with the steady pulse of nature. Imagine the gentle morning light filtering through a small window, touching the wooden beams above, warming the cool stone floor. Hear the soft crowing of a rooster, the clucking of hens as they move about the yard, the faint rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze. Let these sounds wrap around you like a soft blanket. As you listen, allow yourself to sink into this calming scene, leaving behind the worries of your day. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw relax, and your mind float effortlessly between the words and images. You are safe here, cradled in the embrace of history and soft storytelling. We will journey slowly, step by step, into the heart of this time. You will meet the people who lived, loved, and dreamed, hear their daily rituals, their struggles, and their quiet moments of peace. You will feel the textures of their world, the roughness of handmade cloth, the cool dampness of stone walls, the warmth of hearth fires, and the soft earth beneath your feet. As the story unfolds, imagine yourself becoming part of this world, walking beside villagers on their daily routines, pausing to watch the light play on the fields, listening to the hum of life around you. The narration will guide you gently, inviting you to observe, to feel, and to rest. Tonight, this history sleep story is your invitation to let go, to breathe deeply, to drift softly into sleep, held tenderly by the soothing cadence of the past. So, close your eyes if you wish, or keep them softly focused ahead, and let the journey begin. Imagine the cool night air brushing your face, the gentle flicker of candlelight illuminating worn pages of a book, the calm silence of a world preparing. For rest, you are safe, you are calm, you're ready. Leaving the peaceful riverside behind, you begin a slow stroll along a narrow forest path that meanders just beyond the edge of the Edwardian estate. The transition from the open waterside to the shelter of trees is gradual. Each step draws you deeper into a place where the air shifts, cooler and more fragrant, laced with scents of pine needles, damp soil, and the faint sweetness of bluebells hidden among the underbrush. The canopy above is high and sheltering, as though centuries old. Trees have locked hands to protect the pathway from the wider world. Slivers of pale moonlight break through in gentle shafts, painting the earth in silver patterns. Now and then, you see the shadow of a branch sway across your path, slow and rhythmic, as if the forest itself is breathing. You walk at a servant's pace, neither hurried nor idle, measured and careful, as someone who is used to balancing trays and parcels even when navigating uneven ground. Each footfall crunches faintly over fallen leaves, softened by the damp of earlier rain. Your fingers brush lightly against the moss-covered bark of an oak tree, its texture cool and velvety. From somewhere deeper in the woods comes the steady hoot of an owl, calling out across the still night. A rustle nearby reveals a fox slipping between ferns, its tail a streak of pale fire in the dim light. The quiet pulse of the forest settles around you like a protective cloak. A narrator's thought, forests like this have long been places of reflection. To the Edwardian mind, they were not simply wild spaces, they were parts of the countryside that carried centuries of meaning. Landowners took pride in their managed woodland, and servants, like you, often found them both practical and magical. A source of berries, kindling, and fresh air, but also a place to pause in solitude when duties allowed. You reach a small clearing where the path curves around a fallen beech tree. The trunk is softened by moss, its one sharp bark now rounded and gentle under the hands of time. You sit for a moment, letting the woodland's natural silence wrap around you. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the quiet presence of countless small live beetles burrowing, leaves shifting, roots drinking deep from the earth. Looking upward, the branches frame a narrow glimpse of the sky. Clouds drift slowly past the moon, casting moving shadows across your face. You inhale deeply, feeling your lungs fill with the clean, living scent of the woods. The path draws you onward until you glimpse something unexpected: the rounded edge of stone emerging between the trees. As you approach, you find yourself standing before an old, disused chapel, half forgotten on the estate grounds. Its walls are of weathered limestone, pale and pitted, draped with ivy that climbs almost to the roof. The arched wooden door stands slightly ajar, as though left so by someone long ago. Inside, The air is cool and faintly scented with candle wax that must have burned decades earlier. You step across the worn threshold, your shoes tapping gently. Against the flagstone floor, dust floats in the air, made visible by the moonlight filtering through narrow stained glass windows. The glass is old, the color softened over time, but you can still see the faded outlines of saints and angels, their faces calm and serene. In the Edwardian era, chapels like this were often private spaces for the household and its staff somewhere to mark weddings, christenings, or to gather in quiet prayer before a long workday. For you, the servant, it is a place of respite, more than ritual, a cool, sheltered room in which to breathe slowly and be unseen for a while. You walk toward a small altar at the far end, where a few candles still stand in heavy brass holders, their wax long hardened. One, remarkably, is only half burned, as though someone extinguished it mid-ceremony and never returned. Your fingertips brush its edge, feeling the tiny ripples frozen in time. A soft voice in your mind, perhaps memory, perhaps imagine. You, in places like this, lives overlapped quietly. The grand family prayed for the nation's prosperity, while the servants prayed for a safe delivery of laundry back from the city. Both prayers rose to the same rafters, mingled and indistinguishable in the still air. When you step outside again, the forest air greets you with its cool embrace. The path leads onward, the trees thinning until you emerge onto a wide, open plain under the vast expanse of night. The grass here moves in gentle waves, stroked by a soft breeze that carries the scent of wild thyme and fresh earth. Overhead, the sky stretches from horizon to horizon, scattered with stars so bright they seem to hum faintly in the stillness. Far in the distance, you see the orange flicker of a small campfire. Its light glows like a warm beacon in the dark, and you walk toward it slowly, savoring each step. The plain is dotted here and there with low shrubs, and every so often you catch the glimmer of dew clinging to their leaves. When you reach the fire, you find a small circle of travelers gathered around it, perhaps a stable boy sent on an errand, a maid visiting family in the next town, and a coachman who has chosen to sleep under the stars rather than in a roadside inn. Their faces glow softly in the firelight, and they greet you with quiet nods rather than words. You lower yourself to sit by the fire, feeling its gentle warmth seep into your hands and face. The crackle of burning wood is rhythmic, almost hypnotic. Sparks drift upward, joining the stars for just a moment before fading into the night. One of the travelers speaks in a low, unhurried tone, sharing a story about walking 20 miles through rain to deliver a parcel on time. Another offers a small anecdote about a horse that refuses to be harnessed unless greeted first with an apple. These are not tales of grand adventure, but simple, human stories, the sort that ripples softly in the heart long after they're told. Around campfires like this, the narrator in your mind whispers. Servants, coachmen, and laborers form their own quiet societies. Laughter and shared bread could bridge distances that rank and station had built. For a short while, everyone was simply a traveler under the same sky. As the stories fade into companionable silence, your gaze drifts upward once more. The Milky Way spills across the heavens, a pale ribbon of countless stars. The sight makes you feel both very small and deeply connected to something endless. The air has grown cooler, and the breeze carries the distant sound of an owl again, calling from somewhere back toward the forest. The smell of the fire mingles with the sweet scent of crushed grass beneath your seat. Gradually, your eyelids grow heavy. You lean back, letting the soft night sounds cradle you. The low murmur of the wind, the occasional pop of the fire, the quiet breathing of those nearby. The narrator's voice returns one final time, slow and gentle. Let this night settle into. You feel the warmth of the fire at your front, the cool breeze at your back, the steady weight of the earth beneath you. You are part of this moment, woven into its stillness. Time stretches here. There is no rush, only rest. The journey will continue, but for now, you are safe, and the night holds you gently. You close your eyes, the flicker of firelight behind, your lids fading into darkness, and for a while, there is only the rhythm of your breathing and the quiet heartbeat of the land. You awaken slowly, not from a dream, but from a deep, peaceful pause beside the fire. The camp around you has grown even quieter. Only the faint hiss of embers remains, the logs having burned low into glowing coals. Overhead, the stars are still, scattered thickly across the sky. But there is a subtle change in the air. The night is at its richest. That still hour when most creatures sleep and time itself seems to slow its pace. A faint silver glow to the east catches your attention. The moon has shifted position, now rising higher and casting longer, paler light across the plain. That light feels almost like an invitation, soft, beckoning you onward. With a quiet nod to the few remaining travelers, you rise, brushing off the faint dust of grass from your skirts or trousers. The fire's warmth lingers on your skin as you step away into the cool night air. The plain gives way to a gentle incline, and you follow a faint track toward the darker outline of a walled courtyard in the distance. Its shape becomes clearer. As you draw closer, a square of tall stone walls, each capped with lichen and edged with the shadows of creeping ivy. An arched wooden door stands in the center of one wall, its iron hinges dulled to a soft gray with age. You push it open slowly, the hinges giving only the slightest sigh, and step inside. The transformation is immediate. The air here is cooler, shaded by high walls that trap the lingering scent of night-blooming flowers. The courtyard is paved with uneven stones, their cracks filled with patches of moss that gleamed faintly in the moonlight. At the center, there's a simple fountain, its basin shallow, its edges smoothed by decades of touch. A thin stream of water still trickles from a stone spout, the sound delicate and unhurried. You walk toward it, the faint echo of your footsteps softened by the moss, a historical whisper in the Edwardian era. Courtyards like these were not merely decorative. They were spaces of transition, neither entirely indoors nor out where servants might pause on an errand between the main house and outer buildings. On hot days, they offered shade. At night, their high walls shielded the warmth of small fires or lamps. It was here that quiet exchanges of news, laughter, or whispered complaints often passed between staff, unseen by their employers. You rest your hand on the cool rim of the fountain and look down into its surface. The water reflects the moon with perfect stillness, except for the gentle ripples created by the falling stream. You trace those ripples with your eyes, letting their slow rhythm lull you deeper into the quiet of the night. Beyond the far corner of the courtyard, a narrow gate stands half hidden in shadow. Drawn to it, you cross the paving stones and slip through into what feels like another world entirely. A hidden garden. The garden is a place of soft abundance. Long beds of lavender stretch in muted waves, their fragrance deepened in the cool night air. Between them, gravel paths curve lazily, inviting slow wandering rather than direct passage. The moonlight picks out the pale faces of night blooming jasmine, their delicate petals open wide. A few pale moths drift lazily from flower to flower, their movement barely disturbing the stillness. Your footsteps crunch faintly over the gravel, the sound blending with the gentle hum of crickets hidden in the grass. You pass beneath an archway of climbing roses, their blossoms faintly visible even in this dim light. A few petals have fallen to the path, each one like a small pale star at your feet. Near the center of the garden stands a small wrought iron bench. You sit, letting the cool air wrap around you. The garden is enclosed on all sides, yet it feels infinite. Every breath carries with it the layered sense of herbs, earth, and blooms. To Edwardian gardeners, the narrator's voice murmurs. The night garden was a mark of refinement. While the grand family might admire it from their windows, it was often the hands of gardeners, apprentices, and lower staff that kept it alive, watering by moonlight, trimming by lamplight, and learning the quiet patience that plants require. You rise and wander toward the far edge of the garden, where another path leads upward. The gravel gradually gives way to smooth flagstones, and you realize you are climbing a gentle stone stairway that winds around the outer wall. The air grows fresher with each step, touched by a stronger breeze. When you emerge at the top, you find yourself on a wide stone terrace. From here, the view stretches far beyond the plain, out over rolling hills and glimmering waterways. The moonlight spills across everything, turning even distant trees into silhouettes of silver and shadow. The terrace itself is edged with carved balustrades. Their pale stone cool beneath your hands. Large terracotta pots stand at intervals, each holding a bay tree or small cypress, their leaves rustling softly in the wind. At the far end, a wide stone bench invites you to sit. The sky above is a masterpiece of stillness. The stars burn brightly, scattered so thickly they seem to dust the air itself. You spot familiar constellations, their ancient shapes mapped by sailors, shepherds, and travelers for countless generations. A shooting star glides silently across the horizon, leaving a faint trail that fades almost before you can fully follow it. The narrator's reflection. In your time, you might think of the stars as remote, unreachable. But for the Edwardian servant, they were companions, markers of time on long walks home, signs of clear weather or coming frost. A maid hanging linens by starlight, a coachman pausing at a hilltop, a stable boy resting after the last chores of the evening. All would have known these same pinpricks of light. The wind on the terrace carries with it faint sounds from far away perhaps. The whisper of the river you left earlier, or the distant creak of a cartwheel on a country road. Closer by, you hear the faint rustle of ivy as it shifts against the terrace walls. You remain there for some time, breathing in the cool, clean air, letting your eyes wander lazily between the stars and the dark curves of the land below. The stone bench beneath you is firm and grounding, the balustrade before you a steady boundary between this high place and the wide openness beyond. Gradually, your gaze drifts back toward the garden below. From this height, it looks like a quilt of shadow and moonlight, its paths silver threads weaving between darker patches of shrubs and flowers. You think of the gardeners who know each of those paths by heart, able to walk them even without sight, guided by the placement of certain plants, the feel of certain stones beneath their feet. The air grows cooler still, and you wrap your arms lightly around yourself. Somewhere deep inside, you feel a quiet shift, not a desire to move on just yet, but the awareness that the night is carrying you toward its later hours. Soon, the breeze will take on the faintest edge of dawn. For now, though, this moment remains suspended in time. You lean back against the bench, your eyes heavy, but your mind calm. The terrace, the stars, the soft wind they feel like part of a single breathing world, one that holds you gently in its quiet rhythm. The terrace wind lingers on your skin like a cool, invisible shawl. When you finally rise, your steps are slow, deliberate, more an act of drifting than walking. You follow the stone stairs down again, moving from the height of the terrace back into the hush of the hidden garden. The scents meet you first. The lavender sweetness deepened in the still air, the faint resin of the bay trees, the damp greenness of moss. You pass the fountain once more, the thin stream of water still whispering its delicate note, before slipping through the arched gate and out into the open plain. The moon has begun its slow descent toward the west, but its light is still bright enough to cast pale shadows at your feet. Somewhere ahead, you hear the soft, persistent sound of running water, faint at first, but growing clearer with each step. You follow a narrow path bordered by tall grass, its silvery tops brushing against your legs. The ground here slopes gently, leading you toward a broad ribbon of river that winds lazily across the plain. The water is smooth in some places, rippled in others where it moves more quickly around a bend. On the near bank, a row of lanterns has been placed at intervals along a worn footpath. Their light is warm and honey-colored, a gentle contrast to the moon's silver glow. You move toward the first of these lanterns, noticing how its flame sways slightly in the breeze. The metal casing is old, patched in places, but the glass is clean, and the light inside shines steadily, a historical whisper in Edwardian country estates. Lamps and lanterns like these might be set out for visiting guests during summer gatherings, guiding them from the main house to a riverside lawn where music played and refreshments were served. They were small beacons of welcome, tokens of care from the household staff, who would spend hours trimming wicks, polishing glass, and filling reservoirs with oil so that every flame would burn evenly through the night. You begin to walk along the riverbank, following the gentle sequence of lanterns. Their circles of light overlap faintly, and in the gaps between them, the moonlight spills across the path. The sound of the river is constant now, sometimes a soft rushing where it narrows, sometimes a wide hush where it spreads and slows. The opposite bank is darker, lined with trees whose branches reach out over the water. Their reflections ripple faintly, each branch bending and straightening with the movement of the current. Occasionally, a fish breaks the surface with a quick, quiet splash, sending small rings of disturbance across the silver sheen. Ahead, the path curves toward a stone bridge that arches gracefully over the river. It is neither grand nor plain, but something in between. A bridge built to endure, with care in every fitted block, but without the showiness of a public monument. The lanterns continue up its sides, spaced evenly along the low parapet, so that the entire span is softly lit. You pause at the foot of the bridge, resting your hand on the cool stone. From here, you can see the water passing beneath you in two distinct moods, the near side still and reflective, the far side bright with the churning white of a narrow rapid. You take a slow breath, listening to both the stillness and the movement, the hush and the rush. As you step onto the bridge, the view changes with each pace. Midway across, you stop and lean slightly over the parapet. The lantern light catches on the ripples below, fragmenting into 100 small glimmers that drift downstream. Beyond the edge of the lantern glow, the moon takes over, painting the river's surface with a single broad streak of silver. A breeze moves through, then soft, almost secretive, bringing with it the scent of wet stone and the faintest trace of wood smoke from somewhere far off. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the coolness pass across your face. The narrator's reflection, bridges, in their quiet way, carry stories. In this part of the Edwardian countryside, they might see the polished boots of a landowner, the mud-smeared soles of a farmer's son, the hurried steps of a maid sent to fetch something from the village. And when no one crossed, they would stand alone, watching the water's endless procession, season after season, year after year. You remain there, halfway across, feeling the solidness of the bridge beneath your feet. The slow pull of the river seems to match the slow pull of the night toward its deepest hours. There's a quiet sense of being suspended not only between the two banks of the river, but between wakefulness and dreams. When you finally move on, you let your pace be as unhurried as the water itself. The far end of the bridge opens onto a small clearing where the lanterns stop, leaving the space open to the moon's gentler light. Here, the grass is short and soft underfoot, dotted with small wildflowers that close their petals tightly in. The cool night at the clearing's edge, a low wooden dock extends into the river. Its boards creak softly under your weight as you step onto it. The water laps gently against its sides, a soothing, repetitive sound that feels older than memory itself. You walk to the dock's end and sit with your feet just above the surface. The river's faint mist touching your ankles. The current's voice is constant here, but never forceful. It speaks in a language of liquid patience, carrying away what it must, returning always to the same path. You watch a leaf drift by, caught briefly in a small whirl before breaking free again and continuing downstream. A gentle anecdote. In the Edwardian years, rivers were often the quiet lifeblood of a countryside estate's sources of water for gardens, places for small boats, and, occasionally, spots for picnics arranged with delicate porcelain and linen. For those who worked the land, the river was more practical washing tools, cooling horses, and marking the edges of familiar fields. After a long while, you rise from the dock and turn back toward the bridge. The moonlight makes the path ahead clear even without the lanterns, and the faint sound of the river stays with you as you walk. Crossing back, you notice that the lantern flames have shifted slightly, leaning toward the west in the faint wind. You imagine the hand that lit each one earlier in the evening, moving steadily from post to post with practiced care. Back on the near bank, the path bends away from the water, leading you through another stand of tall grass. The river sound grows softer behind you, replaced by the chirring of crickets and the occasional soft call of a night bird. The earth here is dry underfoot, and the grass parts easily as you pass. Soon you see the faint outline of another gate ahead, this one wooden and low, its latch simple. Beyond it, the path seems to curve upward again, disappearing into shadow. You lift the latch slowly, the small click unusually loud in the stillness, and step through. Here, the air feels subtly different, cooler again, touched by a freshness that hints at higher ground. The path is edged with low hedges, and as you walk, the sound of the river becomes only a memory. The night has drawn you onward, layer by layer, from the warmth of the fire to the hidden garden, from the terrace to the moonlit river. And now into a new, quieter ascent. In the hush that follows, your steps and breathing are the only sounds. The moon, though lower now, still watches over you, its pale light guiding you toward whatever lies ahead. And somewhere, perhaps just out of sight, the next space waits still, serene, ready to receive you. The path from the wooden gate leads upward at a gentle incline, its edges softened by the night. Small stones crunch lightly beneath your steps, their sound muted by the thick hush of the hour. The hedges on either side grow a little taller as you ascend, their leaves catching the moonlight in tiny silver flashes whenever the breeze stirs them. The air here is cooler, fresher, almost scented with stone and distant rain, though no clouds break the sky above. That freshness carries a quiet promise, as though something is waiting at the top of the rise. You walk slowly, letting your breath match your pace, each step carrying you deeper into the stillness. Soon, the hedges open, revealing a wide plateau. The ground here is covered in short grass, soft and springy underfoot, with wild thyme and clover weaving their scents into the air. The hill's crest gives you a view that stretches in all directions. To the east, a faint shimmer of the river. You left behind, the south dark shapes of woods folded into shadow. And far to the west, the faint, warm flicker of lanterns where the palace still keeps its vigil through the night. But it is the sky above that draws you. Here, away from the higher walls and clustered trees, the stars reveal themselves in full hundreds. Thousands of them scattered across a black velvet dome. Some shine bright and steady, others tremble faintly as though caught in an unseen wind. The Milky Way is a pale river of its own, crossing from one horizon to the other. Each grain of light, a distant fire burning across the centuries. You lie down in the grass, the earth's coolness pressing gently against your back. Above, the constellations seem almost to lean closer. as if sharing their ancient stories. A gentle anecdote in Edwardian evenings. Far from the cities, people would often know the stars as intimately as the roads near their homes. Without the glare of electric light, constellations were guides Orion's belt, marking the hunter's place in the sky, the North Star anchoring a sense of direction. For many, star watching was not only practical, but also deeply personal. A way of tracing the same shapes that their parents and grandparents had named. You let your eyes wander slowly from one star to another. Overhead, the Great Bear curls its bright tail, pointing toward the steady glow of the North Star. To the south, the faint haze of Orion is rising, its belt of 3 stars as perfectly spaced as the pearls on a royal necklace. The longer you look, the more the sky seems to deepen, not just in color, but in time. You can almost imagine the lives that have paused under this same canopy. Shepherds with their flocks, travelers resting by a roadside fire, lovers walking in secret. The stars seem to carry their presence, their quiet thoughts, their slow breaths. Breeze stirs again, brushing your cheek, and you rise slowly to continue. The path across the plateau leads to another small ascent, this one gentler still. Each step feels less like movement toward a destination and more like drifting toward the night's softest core at the next rise. The plateau ends in a gentle downward slope covered in wild chamomile. The flowers are closed for the night. There. Pale buds, small lanterns in the moonlight. Their scent faint but soothing spreads as you pass, carrying with it a note of warmth despite the cool air. The slope leads you to a low stone wall, barely waist-high, built long ago to mark a boundary that now seems forgotten. Its surface is worn smooth, its edges softened by moss and lichen. You rest your hand on it as you step over, feeling the cool firmness of stone that has stood here through seasons beyond counting, beyond the wall. The land dips into a hollow where the air grows warmer again. At its center lies a pond, its surface so still it mirrors the moon perfectly, save for the occasional ripple made by a passing insect. Around it, tall reeds sway gently, their feathery tips catching the faintest light. You circle the pond slowly, your steps silent on the soft earth. From this angle, the moon's reflection seems close enough to touch a white coin resting on a bed of liquid glass, a historical whisper. Small ponds such as this often served as quiet gathering points in the countryside. In Edwardian estates, they might be ornamental, edged with lilies in the summer months. In villages, they might be practical watering places for livestock or a source for washing. But always, they held the stillness of water that has no need to hurry. You pause at the far side, where a small wooden bench rests under a willow's drooping branches. The leaves hang low, brushing the water's edge, making a soft shee sound when the wind passes. You sit and close your eyes for a moment, listening. There is no rush here. Even the night seems to be in no hurry to move forward. When you open your eyes again, the stars are brighter still. You rise, following a narrow path that leads away from the pond and into a stand of slender birch trees. Their pale trunks glow in the moonlight, each one marked with faint horizontal lines like the writing of a quiet diary. The leaves shimmer faintly above, though no wind stirs, only the faint movement of the world breathing. The path winds gently upward again, leading you to the top of a smaller hill. Here, the view opens once more, but now, instead of distant lanterns or the glint of water, you see the soft outline of the palace gardens far below, their shapes barely discernible in the moonlight. You begin your slow descent back toward them, the path curving in gentle arcs. The air is warmer again as you go lower, touched by scents of roses and night-blooming jasmine carried from the grounds. Somewhere, faint but clear, the sound of the fountain from the hidden garden returns, like the soft calling of an old friend. At last, you reach a familiar gate in the outer wall. Its ironwork is cool under your fingers as you push it open. Inside, the gardens are hushed, their pathways dappled with moonlight. The torches have burned lower now, their flames small and steady, their oil nearly spent. You pass the fountain, its voice unchanged, and step into the shadowed corridor that leads back toward the quiet of the inner chambers. The air here is warm. Again, holding the scent of stone warmed earlier by the day's sun. Through the long corridor, past the carved pillars, and back into your private room. The door closes softly behind you, sealing out the world beyond. The silk cushions are exactly as you left them, their surfaces smooth and cool to the touch. You lie down slowly, letting the night settle over you like a second blanket. The sound of the distant fountain drifts faintly through the walls. Outside, the moon continues its silent watch, the stars holding their patient vigil. Your breathing deepens. The coolness of the terrace, the hush of the river, the glow of the lanterns, the softness of the grass beneath the stars, all of it lingers in your mind. Each memory layered gently over the next until they form a single, continuous dream. And, as the night folds around you, there is nothing left to do. The journey has carried you here, to this quiet center, where the only movement is the slow turning of the world and the steady rhythm of your own breath. Sleep gathers at the edges, and without effort, you let it come. The grand Edwardian household, so full of footsteps, voices, and the occasional clatter of the day's routines, is quiet now. It is a kind of quiet that feels deeper than simple absence of sound, more like the slow settling of the entire building, as if the very bricks and beams have exhaled. The day has ended, and with it, the flurry of duties that have shaped every servant's hour since dawn. From your narrow servant's bed, listen to the faintest traces of the evening's last movements. Somewhere far above, a door eases shut, not slammed, but gently closed, perhaps by the butler making one final round before retiring. In the kitchen below, the embers of the great range fire are no longer being stoked. Instead, they rest in a quiet bed of ash, their once bright crackle reduced to a faint, sleepy sigh. You shift slightly, the coarse wool of your blanket brushing your cheek, and you become aware of the other layers of this nighttime hush, the muted ticking of a clock down the hall, the faint hum of wind curling around the corners of the house, and somewhere in the distance, the muffled roll of carriage wheels passing along the lane outside. These sounds do not disturb. They are like the heartbeat of the world beyond your little room, slow and steady, reminding you that life continues. Even as you drift into stillness, the air carries the scent of the day's labor's subtle traces, of polish from the silver that was cleaned after dinner, the lingering ghost of baked bread from the afternoon tea service, and even the faint clean temps of soap from the washing up water that was drained not long ago. These fragrances are layered, blending into something uniquely familiar, the scent of a servant's day in an Edwardian home, where every task leaves a gentle mark upon the air. Your mind drifts back, retracing the quiet rhythm of the evening. After the master and mistress retired to the drawing room, a conversation softened into low tones, and the clink of teacups gave way to the slow turning of pages in books or the light flicker of cards being dealt. In the servants' hall, supper had been simple bread, cheese, perhaps a slice of cold meat taken quickly before the last duties called. And then, one by one, lamps were turned down, curtains drawn, and polished shoes set neatly outside bedroom doors, ready for the morning's work. Above all, there is a sense of completion. In the Edwardian household, the day is not merely ended. It is put to bed, every detail attended to, every last thing in its proper place. The silverware is locked in its chest, the fire screens are set before the grates, the pantry is latched, and the kitchen knives are hung in their order. Even the great-grandfather clock in the main hall seems to tick with more leisure now. Its pendulums swing long and unhurried. You imagine the household itself, this tall, elegant structure of brick and stone resting as you do. The grand staircase sleeps under the dim glow of the wall sconces. The carpets, worn in the patterns of countless feet, hold the day's footsteps in silence. The fine china in the dining room glimmers faintly in the moonlight, as though remembering the soft laughter and conversation that surrounded it only hours ago. The life of a servant is one of constancy. Yet in these moments, lying in your narrow bed with the stillness all around you, you sense the luxury of quiet that comes only when the day is done. The grand rooms above may still echo with the murmur of the household's family, but down here, in the modest quarters of the staff, the pace has slowed to something steady and reassuring. You think of the generations before you, servants who have lain in this very room, hearing the same ticking clock, breathing in the same nighttime scents. They, too, would have ended their days with the same blend of fatigue and contentment, knowing that tomorrow the work would begin again. But for now, there is nothing to do but listen, feel, and rest. The night deepens. Outside, the moonlight paints the stone walls in silver and shadow. The garden beyond lies still, its flowers folding inward, its hedges quiet under the watch of the stars. The gravel path is pale under the moon, a winding ribbon that leads to the gate, where the ironwork stands black against the sky. Somewhere near the stables, a horse shifts gently in its stall, hooves tapping once against wood before settling again into straw dot in the attic above. The wind murmurs along the rafters. The roof's tiles expand and contract with the cooling of the night, producing faint, almost imperceptible clicks that sound in your half-dreaming state, like the careful footsteps of ghosts, though not unfriendly ones. They are the ghosts of time itself, walking the same halls, brushing past the same doorways. Century after century, you take a slow breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs, cool and steady. The blanket is warm against your body, heavy in the comforting way that makes you feel grounded. The straw-filled mattress shifts slightly beneath you, its familiar unevenness cradling you just enough to keep you still. The sensation is not luxurious, but it is deeply real proof that you belong. Here, in this place, in this moment between wakefulness and sleep. Your mind wanders to the great front door of the house, now locked for the night. How many times has it been opened and closed through the decades? How many guests have stepped over its threshold, their coats brushed free of rain, their laughter trailing into the grand hall? How many times has it stood firm against storms, its brass knocker glistening wet, its hinges holding fast? That door, like the house itself, has seen lives pass and seasons change, yet remains steady, watching over the comings and goings with silent patience. You picture the dining room now. Chairs neatly tucked in, the long table polished to a gleam. The silver candelabras stand in the center, their candles extinguished, wicks still carrying the faintest curl of smoke. The mirrors along the walls catch the moonlight and return it in fractured slivers, casting gentle patterns across the carpet. There is beauty in this stillness, beauty in the absence of movement, as though the house itself is taking a breath before the next day's performance. Somewhere above, a floorboard creaks softly. Perhaps it is the housekeeper making one last check of the linen cupboard before bed. Or perhaps it is only the wood shifting as the night air cools the house. Either way, the sound blends into the rest of the nighttime chorus, the ticking clock. The wind at the eaves, the far-off sound of a church bell striking the hour. Each strike of the bell feels slower than the last, as though time itself is easing into rest. You imagine the city or village beyond, its own households tucking into sleep. Lamps go out one by one. Streets empty. The world folds in upon itself, growing smaller, quieter, gentler. You close your eyes, letting the images drift through your mind without effort. In this state, the line between memory and dream begins to blur. The day's events fade into a kind of watercolor, haze soft edges, muted tones, nothing sharp to disturb your thoughts. You are aware only of the present moment, the rhythm of your breath, and the comforting thought that the house is safe, the work is done, and you are part of a lineage of quiet evenings just like this one. This is the true close of an Edwardian. Day not with fanfare or final words, but with the simple, enduring peace of a house that sleeps, watched over by the steady heart of its walls and the quiet loyalty of those who serve within them. The night holds the house in its careful embrace, and you lie listening, not only to the sounds that exist now, but to those that have faded into memory. For in this moment, with the halls hushed and the hearths dimmed, it is easy to imagine that the past still lingers. Just beyond the edge of sight, the Edwardian era itself feels like such a presence, something both recent and long gone. Like the echo of a voice in a corridor that is no longer visible, but still somehow audible. It was a world balanced on the delicate threshold between the traditions of the 19th century and the great changes that would sweep the 20th. Electric lights were replacing gas lamps. Yet the warm glow of candlelight still lingered in drawing rooms. Horses still clattered along the cobblestone streets, but the low mechanical hum of motor cars was beginning to make itself heard. And here, in this grand household, that blend of old and new was woven into every part of life. In the quiet, you can almost hear the rustle of fine gowns as the lady of the house descends the staircase for dinner. You can picture the gentlemen in stiff evening coats, voices low, discussing matters of the empire over brandy in the library. You can see the cook in her spotless apron, flour dusting her hands, preparing a supper that would be set on polished silver trays by the footman, each movement precise, each gesture a performance honed by years of habit. Now those scenes have passed into the fabric of the house itself. They live in the way the banister curves under your hand, worn smooth by decades of touch. They exist in the faint creak of the floorboards, where so many steps have fallen in orderly procession, guests arriving, children running, servants hurrying from task to task. The house remembers. And tonight, as you lie in stillness, you are part of its remembering. Your thoughts drift further back still, to the time before you were here. The house would have known other staff before you, young maids from nearby villages, gardeners who worked through all weathers, grooms who cared for the fine horses in the stable yard. Some would have stayed for decades, becoming almost part of the family. Others would have left after a season or two, carrying their memories of the house into their own lives elsewhere. But all of them left something behind, even if only in the faint trace of laughter in a corner of the kitchen, or the smooth edge of a tool handle worn by countless hands. You think about how the daily rhythm of life here is part of a much larger rhythm, the slow turning of seasons, the steady passing of years. In spring, the garden would be alive with color, tulips, and daffodils bowing gently in the breeze. In summer, the long evenings would stretch lazily, the air thick with the scent of roses. Autumn would bring a rustle of leaves along the gravel drive. And in winter, frost would lace the windows while the fires roared in every hearth. And through it all, the same rituals of service would continue: tables laid, linens pressed, floors polished until they gleamed. You imagine that, decades from now, the same house might stand under a different sky, its walls sheltering new lives. The furniture might change, the clothes might change, but perhaps the faint scent of beeswax polish will still linger on the banisters. Perhaps the moonlight will still fall in that same silver path across the dining room floor. The echoes of the past will still be there, even if no one stops to notice them. Outside, the world beyond the garden gates is sleeping too. The lane that leads away from the estate is quiet now, though earlier in the evening a lone bicycle passed, its bell chiming softly. In the village, the lamps are out, the shop shutters closed, and the church stands like a dark silhouette against the pale gleam of the moon. Somewhere far away, a train may be passing, its faint rumble like the whisper of a dream, carrying unknown passengers to unknown destinations. Here inside the house, you are far from all that movement. You are wrapped in the stillness of a place that has learned over many decades how to hold on to its calm. This is a house built for order and tradition, where everything has its place and its time. And in the quiet, you can sense the comfort that comes from such constancy. You let your mind wander. It's not in a hurried way, but slowly, as though walking through the rooms in your imagination. You pass the drawing room, now empty, but you can almost see the glow of the fire that would have burned there earlier. You step into the dining room, where the polished table still holds the faint scent of the evening's feast. You wander down the long hallway past portraits whose painted eyes follow your movements, not in judgment, but in quiet observation, as if they, too, are keeping watch over the night. It is strange to think how much of life happens unnoticed in the moment. The laughter that once rang in these rooms was never meant to be an artifact. It was simply the sound of people living. The clink of silver on china, the shuffle of cards, the murmur of conversation late into the evening, these were everyday things. And yet, now they have become threads in the rich tapestry of memory, preserved not by photographs or letters, but by the walls themselves. By the way, a house holds its own history. Somewhere above, perhaps in one of the family's rooms, a clock chimes softly. The sound is warm and round, filling the silence without breaking it. You imagine the hands of the clock, moving ever so slowly across its face, marking time as it has for decades. The servants who wound it each week have changed many times, but the clock's steady work has remained the same. There is a lesson in that, the endurance of small, steady things. A house like this survives not because of grand gestures, but because of the quiet repetition of care. Floors scrubbed, fires lit, curtains drawn. The same way, a life is built from the small, consistent acts that no one writes down, but that shape the days nonetheless. You feel the pull of sleep beginning to deepen, the edges of your thoughts softening, your breathing slow and even. Yet, there is a sweetness in lingering here a little longer and holding on to this space between the present and the past, between waking and dreaming. You think of the countless others who must have felt the same at the close of a day, the footman easing off his gloves after a long evening of service, the maid laying out her apron for the morning, the cook sitting down for a moment's quiet by the kitchen fire. They would have known the same mixture of weariness and peace, the same awareness that tomorrow would bring its own set of tasks. But tonight, for just these few hours, there was rest. The house is so still now that you can almost believe time has paused. The air feels thick with quiet, the kind of quiet that does not ask to be broken. You let it sink into you until it is as much a part of you as your own heartbeat. Outside, the stars are scattered like silver dust across the sky. Inside, the shadows stretch long and gentle across the floors. And somewhere deep within the bones of the house, the memories of all who have lived and worked here are resting. Too, their voices softened into whispers, their footsteps fading into the rhythm of the night. You breathe in once more, deeply and slowly, and as you exhale, you let the day slip away entirely. What remains is only the present moment, the quiet hum of a house that has seen generations pass and will see many more, the soft touch of a blanket against your skin, the low sigh of wind at the window. These are the constants, the things that outlast even the grandest changes. And as your thoughts grow lighter, drifting away like leaves on a gentle stream, you know that this night will take its place alongside all the others the house has known. A small, perfect fragment of peace, preserved in its long, unbroken history. The night has deepened. Somewhere beyond the thick stone walls, the world continues to turn. But here, inside this quiet estate, time has softened to something almost fluid. The air itself seems to carry the weight of years, and with each slow breath, you feel yourself moving deeper into its stillness. It is in moments like this, when everything is at rest, that the threads of the past become easiest to trace. You can feel them thin and delicate, yet impossibly strong, connecting your life to the lives of those who came before you. They are not visible to the eye, but you sense them all the same, stretching back through decades, even centuries. Binding this present night to a chain of countless others, in the dim light, the edges of the room seem to blur. The furniture, with its polished wood and careful carvings, stands like quiet sentinels. Their shapes are familiar, yet they hold a certain mystery, as if each one remembers far more than it reveals. That hub-backed chair near the hearth has felt the weight of generations. The desk in the corner has known the scratch of quills, the tap of fountain pens, the faint scent of sealing wax and ink. They remain here, holding their place in the slow, steady march of time, and if the furniture remembers, then so too must the walls. These walls have listened to laughter and sorrow, to whispered secrets and raised voices, to the murmur of private conversations and the bright chatter of guests. They have held the vibrations of music, the gentle lilt of piano keys drifting through a winter's evening, or the sound of boots on the gravel drive as visitors arrived. Now, those sounds exist only in the quiet imagination. The people who made them have gone, leaving their traces behind like shadows cast at sunset. Some left suddenly, perhaps with the turn of the seasons, perhaps because duty called them elsewhere. Others stayed until the end of their days, so woven into the fabric of the house that even after they were gone, it was hard to imagine the place without them. You can almost picture them now, moving through these halls. A housemaid in a crisp white apron carrying a tray of tea through the morning light. A young boy in the stables, his cheeks flushed from the cold, tending to a horse with gentle patience. A lady seated by the window, her embroidery resting in her lap as she gazes absently out into the garden. They move through your mind like scenes from a lantern slide, faint, flickering, yet filled with life. And as you picture them, you begin to realize how little the essence of life changes even across centuries. The tools may differ, the fashions may shift, the customs may evolve, but the undercurrent remains the same: people loving, working, striving, resting. The days are filled with the same patterns of routine and hope, the same quiet moments of joy, the same need for connection and belonging. In this way, the house is more than a place. It is a vessel for all these moments, a keeper of lives that would otherwise be scattered and forgotten. Its windows have framed the same moon and stars. For countless eyes, its floors have borne the weight of so many footsteps, each one part of an unbroken story. You imagine the turning of the years here, each one passing like the slow turning of a page. The gardens bloom and fade. Children grow into adults, and then into elders. The fashions change from silk gowns to tailored suits to simpler, more practical wear. The outside world transforms with inventions and discoveries, with upheavals and celebrations. But within these walls, there's always some echo of what came before. Perhaps that is why the air tonight feels so thick with presence. You are not only lying in your bed in this moment, you are lying in the memory of 100 years of nights. Every creak in the timbers, every sigh of the wind at the eaves, it's a reminder that you are part of something much larger than yourself. And so your mind drifts outward, beyond the house, to the land around it. The fields that stretch away into the dark have been plowed, planted, and harvested for generations. The old oak at the edge of the drive has watched every carriage that ever passed beneath its branches. The river beyond the meadow has flowed in the same steady rhythm, carrying with it the reflection of countless skies. You picture a night like this in another time, perhaps a century ago. The same stars scattered above, though perhaps in slightly different positions. The same quiet sweep of the wind across the grass. And in the house, someone else lying awake for a while, feeling the same stillness you feel now. Listening to the same subtle hum of the night. There is a comfort in that. Thought that you are part of a pattern that repeats, that the world has known this calm before and will know it again. It takes the sharpness out of time, softens its edges, makes it feel less like a rushing current and more like a great, slow tide. Your breathing falls into sync with that tide, long and unhurried. You feel as if you could drift here forever, neither fully awake nor fully asleep, resting in that in-between space where dreams begin to take shape. And in those dreams, perhaps you will wander through the past not as a stranger, but as someone who belongs there, moving easily among the people and places that have filled these walls for so long. You might walk through the kitchen on a winter's morning, the windows fogged with steam, the scent of fresh bread in the air. You might step out into the garden on a summer evening, the light golden and soft, the roses heavy with bloom. You might pause in the library, running your hand over the spines of leather-bound books that hold words written before you were born. And in each place, you would feel the same sense of welcome, the same gentle assurance that you are exactly where you are meant to be. That is the gift of such a house. It gathers you in, folds you into its history, and lets you rest in the knowledge that you are part of something that will last long after you. The night grows deeper still. Outside, the moon slips behind a cloud, and the world grows even darker. But here, you are wrapped in safety, in the quiet heartbeat of a place that has seen so much and still stands, steadfast and serene. You can almost hear that heartbeat now, not in sound, but in feeling the slow pulse of time moving gently forward, carrying you with it. You close your eyes and let yourself float on that feeling, as the house keeps its watch and the past settles, like a soft quilt over the present. Somewhere far away, dawn is beginning to touch the edge of the horizon. But here, the night still belongs entirely to you. And in that deep, unbroken stillness, you begin to let go. The night outside has reached its deepest point, that mysterious hour when the world seems almost to pause between breaths. Even the air feels still, as if it has settled into a long, quiet exhale. From your window, the view is cloaked in shadow. But far above, the sky remains alive with pinpricks of light stars scattered like tiny sparks across an endless canvas. They have always been there, long before the palace rose from its first foundations, before the city formed around it, before the rivers carved their slow curves through the earth. Those stars look down. Generations have lived and loved, have celebrated and grieved beneath them, each certain in their own time that they were gazing at something eternal. It is strange to think of all those eyes, countless and unconnected, yet bound by the same view. A young apprentice, centuries ago, stepping outside to cool his face after a long day at the forge. A weary mother, holding her child at the balcony, humming softly under the night sky. A king himself, alone in the gardens, staring upward in search of guidance that never quite arrives. Each saw the same constellations. Each traced the same shapes across the heavens. The palace gardens sleep now, their winding paths silvered by moonlight. The still ponds mirror the sky, so that the stars appear twice, once in the heavens and once in the earth. Somewhere, a nightbird calls, its voice slow and low, and the sound carries through the quiet like a ripple over still water. Walking here at this hour is like moving through another realm entirely. The grandeur of the palace seems softer, humbled by the vastness above. The stone steps leading down to the garden are cool beneath your feet. Dew has begun to settle on the grass, each drop catching what little light there is, so that the lawns seem dusted with something precious and rare. A gentle breeze stirs, carrying with it the faint scent of night-blooming flowers. These blossoms are shy things, opening only under the cover of darkness. In daylight, their colors would go unnoticed among the more flamboyant blooms. But at night, Their pale petals seem almost to glow, delicate as moth wings. You pause beside one of these clusters, letting your fingers brush the velvety surface of a flower. It bends slightly under your touch, as though acknowledging your presence. Beyond the garden lies the river. By day, it is lively with movement fishermen at work, children playing at its edges, traders guiding flat-bottomed boats downstream. But now it flows in near silence, its surface broken only by the faint shimmer of moonlight. The current is steady, unhurried, as if the water itself knows there is no need to rush. You follow the familiar path to the riverbank, where a stone bench has been worn smooth by years of use. Sitting here, you can feel the earth's coolness rising through the stone, grounding you. The river whispers nearby, its voice low and constant. The sound has a way of untangling thought, of drawing your mind away from all it tries to hold on to. In moments like this, the boundaries between past and present seem to soften. You can almost see, overlapping with the present scene, other shapes, figures from long ago, sitting in this same spot. A court musician, perhaps, seeking inspiration. In the murmur of the water, a scholar pausing in his work to watch the moon's reflection drift downstream. A young girl slipping away from the bustle of the palace to sit here with her dreams. The bench holds them all in memory, just as the river carries their reflections away. It is comforting, in a quiet way, to know that while the details of life change endlessly, the simple act of pausing to listen to water has always been the same. Lifting your gaze, you watch as a cloud passes across the moon. For a moment, the garden dims, and the world seems to exhale again, sinking deeper into rest. Then the moon emerges once more, its light spilling gently over the scene. It touches the leaves, the river, the far-off rooftops, as if laying a blessing. Over them all, the air is cooler now, wrapping softly around your shoulders. You draw it in slowly, breathing in the scent of damp stone, river water, and faint blossoms. The sound of your breath seems to join with the night sounds, part of the larger rhythm that fills the space. It is here, in this stillness, that reflection comes naturally. Not the hurried kind of thought that fills the day, but something slower, deeper, like a pebble sinking through clear water. You think of the lives that unfolded here, of the choices made, the hopes carried, the dreams that blossomed and faded. You think of the way history is built, not in grand events alone, but in moments like this, moments that pass unnoticed, yet leave their quiet imprint. Some of those moments might have been filled with joy. A stolen conversation in the shade of the garden wall, a letter read by lantern light, a shared laugh over a simple meal. Others may have been heavier, a farewell spoken at the river's edge, a solitary walk taken to escape the weight of the day. All of them have seeped into the stones and soil, mingling with the night air you breathe now. You imagine the river as a silent keeper of these memories. It has seen everything and asks nothing in return. It carries away the laughter and the tears alike, dissolving them into its endless journey. And still, it returns again and again, as the rains and seasons renew it. Somewhere in the distance, the faint sound of a bell reaches your ears, a slow, measured toll. It might mark the hour, or it might be a call from a temple across the city. The sound drifts on the air, fading and returning like a tide. It reminds you that even in the depths of night, the world still keeps its own kind of order, its own rhythm. The stars above seem brighter now. Perhaps your eyes have grown accustomed to the dark, or perhaps the sky itself has cleared. You find your gaze drawn to a familiar constellation, its pattern as unchanging as anything can be in this ever-shifting world. People have given it many names over the centuries, each culture seeing its own story written in the stars. Looking at it now, you can't help but feel a small thread of connection to all those who ever looked up at this same pattern. The thought settles over you like a soft blanket that you are not alone and never have been. You are part of an unbroken chain of watchers, each pausing to lift their eyes to the same sky, each carrying their own thoughts and hopes into the quiet of night. A breeze moves through the garden again, stirring the surface of the river so that the moon's reflection trembles slightly. The sound of the leaves rustling above you is gentle, like distant rain. You close your eyes, letting the sound and the cool air wash over you. In the darkness behind your eyelids, the palace fades into something older, more dreamlike. The garden becomes a vast plain beneath a boundless sky. The river becomes a silver, ribbons stretching endlessly into the distance. And you, still seated on the stone bench, feel as if you could remain here forever moving, yet traveling somehow through time itself. When you open your eyes again, the scene has not changed. The palace, the garden, the river are all still here. And yet, you feel different, emptier in a peaceful way, as though the night has quietly taken from you the weight of all unnecessary thought. The stars above remain steady. The river keeps flowing. And the night, deep and unhurried, goes on. The palace is nearly weightless now, as though it too has surrendered to sleep. Its walls, which in the day seem so solid and sure of themselves, feel less like stone and more like moonlight given shape. Shadows have grown long and deep in every corner, gathering like pools of quiet that will remain untouched until morning. The corridors you walk are hushed in a way that feels not empty, but complete, filled with the kind of silence that has been here for centuries, a silence that has learned patience. Each step you take feels slower, lighter, as if the very air is cushioning your movement. Somewhere, far off, you hear the faintest brush of a broom across the flagstones, perhaps a night servant finishing the last of their duties. The sound is so soft it could almost be imagined, blending with the faint hum of the night outside. And then it fades, leaving only the deep, warm quiet of the palace's breathing. The lanterns along the hall have burned low. Their flames are small now, no longer reaching toward the ceiling, but curling gently inward, like a sleeper folding into a dream. The light they give is dim and golden, painting the walls with slow-moving shadows that sway whenever the flame flickers. As you pass one of the long windows, you pause. Outside, the garden has dissolved into mist. It drifts across the ground, in loose trailing shapes, curling around the bases of trees, spilling softly over the pathways. Beyond the mist, the river is hidden, only its low, steady whisper reminds you it is still there. The stars have thinned. Fewer now, though. The ones that remain shine more brightly. The moon hangs lower, closer to the horizon, its pale light brushing across the mist in a way that makes the entire garden look like a painting washed in silver. You move onward, deeper into the palace, and the familiar hallways begin to feel almost like a dream you've walked before. The doors you pass are closed, each guarding its own private world of rest, some holding the soft breathing of sleeping attendants, others keeping watch over rooms that have stood untouched for years. Eventually, you reach one of the smaller courtyards hidden in the palace's heart. Here, the world is utterly still. A narrow pool of water lies at its center, dark as polished stone, yet so clear that the reflection of the moon is perfect, unbroken. The edges of the pool are lined with low stone benches, cool with dew. You sit for a while, letting the silence gather around you. In this place, it is easy to imagine that the palace itself is dreaming its countless stories, folded gently away, waiting to be remembered when morning returns. The longer you sit, the more the edges of reality begin to soften. The silver reflection of the moon on the water seems brighter than the moon itself, and for a moment you cannot tell which is more real. The air grows softer, warmer, as though the night itself is wrapping you in its arms. You think of how many nights like this have passed here. How many moons have hung in this same position, casting their light into this same courtyard. How many souls have wandered here in thought, sat where you sit now, breathed in this same quiet air. Perhaps there was once a concubine who came here after a long evening in the emperor's presence, her silken sleeves brushing against the same stone bench, her hair still carrying the faint perfume of jasmine. Or a young prince, restless in his chambers, who slipped out to watch the moon and ask silent questions of it. Or a gardener, taking a final moment of rest before dawn's work began again. None of them remain now. And yet, in some quiet way, they are all still here. The palace remembers. The stones remember. And the night, patient as ever, holds all there. Stories in a stillness so deep it is almost like water clear, dark, and endless. Somewhere in the quiet, a single petal drifts down from a tree above, landing gently on the pool's surface. It floats there, unhurried, turning slowly in place, as the faintest ripple carries it toward the moon's reflection. You watch as it drifts across that silver circle, as if touching the light itself, before continuing on to the pool's edge. The air in the courtyard feels thicker now, rich with the scent of damp leaves and night-blooming flowers. Your breathing naturally slows to match the rhythm of the night around you. The space between each breath grows longer, softer, until you feel yourself swaying slightly in the stillness. It is then you realize that the centers between the palace and the sky have faded. The walls no longer seem to separate you from the world outside. Instead, they feel like part of the same great stillness. The same night that stretches across the land, binding garden, river, and mountain together under one long, quiet breath. You close your eyes. Behind your lids, the shapes of the courtyard dissolve, replaced by a softer vision, one where the palace floats above the earth, anchored only by the threads of dreams that its sleeping inhabitants are spinning. The river becomes a ribbon of silver smoke. The stars become faint lanterns hanging far away, and the moon, gentle and unblinking, seems to drift closer, until its light is all around you. The last traces of the day's weight slip away. The palace no longer feels like a place you are walking through, but rather something you are part of, woven into its long memory, its slow breathing, its endless cycle of nights and mornings. Somewhere far away, a bell sounds again. This time it is softer, slower, each note dissolving into the next like a stone dropped into still water. You can't tell if it is meant to mark the passage of time or if it is part of the dream that is settling over you. You open your eyes one last time to see the moon's reflection in the pool. It is still there, perfect and whole, waiting, and as you rise and take one slow, final walk back toward your chambers, you carry with you the sense that the palace will go on sleeping long after you close your own eyes. That when you wake, it will greet you with the same slow patience, the same steady heartbeat it has held for centuries. You step inside your quiet chamber. The lantern here is already low, its flame a small bead of gold that trembles with each breath of air. You let it burn as you settle down, the silk of your bedding cool against your skin. The last sound you hear is the river's faint whisper, somewhere beyond the walls, threading its way through the mist toward the sea. It is the same sound it has always made, the same song it will carry long after the palace's stones have turned to dust, and with that thought of something endless, something gentle, let your breath fall into the rhythm of the night. The palace sleeps, you sleep, and the sky keeps watch. The journey is complete now, and you can feel it in the quiet rhythm of your breath, in the way your thoughts seem to drift slower and slower, like leaves carried along a gentle current. The halls you once walked through, grand corridors lined with flickering lamps, smooth floors worn by centuries of footsteps, the faint echo of your own soft tread, have faded behind you. They still exist, somewhere far away in the folds of time, but they no longer demand your presence. Instead, they rest quietly, as if they too are ready for sleep. You can almost see the palace doors now, tall and heavy, carved with scenes from 100 years past. They close with a sound that is not harsh, but soft, like a sigh at the end of a long day. The world on the other side belongs to history, to memory, and it will remain there, safe, until the moment you might wish to visit again. You step outside, and the night greets you like an old friend. The air is cool and steady, carrying the faintest hint of night-blooming flowers, perhaps jasmine or the pale silver breath of lavender that only opens when the moon is high. The scent drifts in waves, barely there, as if it too knows the night should remain unbroken. Overhead, the sky stretches endlessly, deep and velvety, scattered with stars that shine like tiny watchfires in the vast darkness. They seem closer tonight, as though they lean toward you, curious, offering their steady light. These are the same constellations that look down upon the life you just experienced, the same constellations that centuries ago guided the hands of the servants, the steps of the masters, the rhythm of the household you walked through. The stars have watched countless nights pass, countless stories play out. And now they watch over you. Here, in this quiet moment, you begin to walk. Though each step feels less about movement and more about allowing the day to dissolve. The ground beneath your feet is soft, perhaps grass still holding the coolness of evening, or the worn, smooth stones of a garden path. A faint breeze moves through the leaves of nearby trees, producing a sound so delicate it could almost be mistaken for the hush of distant water. Somewhere in the background, you hear the soft, steady chorus of the night, a few insects singing in the grass, the distant call of a night bird, the faint rustle of some small creature passing unseen. All of it folds together into a lullaby that asks nothing from you but stillness. You reach a quiet corner of the palace gardens, or perhaps it is no longer a palace. Perhaps it is now simply a place in your mind, a sanctuary built from the fragments of your journey. There is a bench here, or maybe a low stone wall, warmed earlier by the sun but now cooled by the long breath of night. You sit, letting your body sink down, your shoulders relaxing, your hands resting loosely in your lap. The world is utterly. There is no need to think of tasks undone, no need to carry the weight of the day, no need to remember anything unless it drifts back naturally, like the tide. You close your eyes for a moment, and the images come easily now. The kitchen with its low firelight, the slow, deliberate steps along a candlelit hallway, the clink of porcelain cups being washed in the late hours. They appear as though they are not memories you have to reach for, but gentle scenes that simply float by, asking nothing. There is no urgency in them, no demand for attention. Attention, they simply are. Pieces of a life that has now been set aside, wrapped in the soft fabric of time. The air seems warmer around you now, as though the night itself has drawn a blanket over your shoulders. Your breathing deepens without effort, each inhale slow and full, each exhale a little heavier, a little more complete. With each breath, your body seems to release something, a tiny thread of tension here, a lingering thought there. You feel the way your spine rests more naturally, the way your arms feel heavier, the way even your jaw softens, loosening any last hold it had on the day. The garden around you feels like it is drifting into its own kind of sleep. The leaves are still, the flowers seem to close more tightly, and the shadows grow softer as the moon climbs higher. The night insects slow, their song, their rhythms stretching out as though they too are becoming drowsy. Somewhere, water trickles gently, perhaps from a small fountain hidden by the hedges. It sounds steady and round, never rushing, never loud. It is the kind of sound that does not draw your mind outward, but instead turns it inward, toward the quiet spaces where thought gives way to rest. And then there is only the rhythm you're breathing, the faint pulse of the earth beneath you, the slow drift of the night sky overhead. It is as if time has loosened its grip, as if minutes and hours no longer matter. You could stay here for as long as you wish. You could remain in this garden until the first light of dawn, or simply let yourself sink deeper into the kind of rest that exists outside of time altogether. Your thoughts, once clear and linear, now seem to move like soft clouds, changing shape, dissolving, reforming, then drifting away again without urgency. You might see an image from the day, a tray being carried, the glow of lamplight on polished wood, the shape of a window against the night, and then it fades, replaced by something quieter still. The images become less distinct, more like impressions, colors, textures, the golden warmth of candlelight, the smooth coolness of marble, the faint sweetness of fruit left out on a plate. None of them ask to be held. All of them are content to fade. As you sit there, you notice that even the air feels slower, as though each breeze takes its time to arrive, lingers for a moment, and then moves away. Your heartbeat is steady, not slow in a forced way, but naturally, comfortably, like the gentle lap of water against a shore. Every part of you understands now there is nothing more to do, no role to play, no duties to attend to. You are here, in this quiet place, and the rest of the world can wait. You lean back slightly, tilting your head toward the sky. The stars above seem brighter now, and perhaps one even drifts across the heavens, a streak of light so brief and delicate. You are not even certain you saw it. You imagine it carrying away the last remnants of the day, sending them far, far into the distance where they can dissolve into the night. And in their absence, there is only stillness. The garden, the palace, the streets you once walked, they are all far away now, receding gently into the folds of memory. And beyond them, there is nothing but the wide, soft night, the calm breath of the earth, and the deep, endless space where dreams begin. You allow yourself to drift toward that space now, each breath drawing you closer, each moment of stillness opening the way a little more. You are safe here. You are warm. You are at peace. The quiet deepens now, wrapping around you like layers of the softest fabric, each fold drawn closer until you are entirely cocooned in calm. The journey behind you feels like a dream already. The faces, the voices, the gentle echo of footsteps. In long corridors, they have slipped behind a veil, still there, but so faint you could almost believe they were never entirely real. You feel the way the air presses lightly around you. Not heavy, but protective, as though the night itself has decided to watch over you. Somewhere, far beyond hearing, the last sounds of the waking world are fading, and in their place rises an almost perfect stillness. The kind of stillness that makes you realize just how long you have been carrying noise inside you without knowing it, and how freeing it is to finally set it down. Your breathing is slower now, steady and rhythmic. And with each exhale, you feel yourself sinking deeper, your body becoming heavier and more grounded. It is not the heaviness of fatigue, but the satisfying weight of release. The way a stone settles naturally into the earth, or a leaf drifts to rest upon still water. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Every part of you is loosening, opening, giving itself permission to let go. The air feels warmer, softer, and you notice the way your skin seems to hum faintly, as though it is absorbing the peace around you. The night sky above remains endless and steady, its stars unwavering, as though they have been holding their places. For this very moment, the moon has shifted slightly, its pale light tracing gentle outlines across the garden, the stones, the leaves. The shadows it casts are not sharp, but rounded and soft-edged, as though every shape has been wrapped in velvet. You watch this quiet light touch the world, and you feel it touch you too, smoothing out any last trace of tension, quieting any stray thoughts that might still wander. Somewhere, imagine the great palace you left behind, standing silent under the same moonlight, its gates closed, its lanterns dimmed, its vast rooms empty of movement. The place feels alive in its own way, but in slumber, like a giant creature breathing slowly in the dark. The kitchens are still now, their fires banked low. The corridors are empty except for the occasional flicker of a torch. Even the gardens you walked through earlier seem to have settled, the flowers folding in on themselves, the fountains whispering more softly. And though you are no longer there, you feel the peace of that place reach you, as though the memory itself carries its own quiet blessing. Your thoughts drift toward the concept of time, how it stretches and folds in strange ways. How, in one moment, you were immersed in the bustling rhythms of a royal household. Every sense awake and alert to the sights and sounds of another age. And now, that same life feels as though it belongs to a dream from many nights ago. A gentle reminder that everything passes, the noise, the movement, the demands, even the lingering worries, all of it drifts into the distance eventually, carried away by the patient hands of time. And here, in this deep night, you feel ready to let all of it pass without holding on. The ground beneath you feels cool and steady, a reassuring anchor. You can almost sense the heartbeat of the earth itself, slow and strong, a rhythm that moves far beneath your feet. It has been there long before you and will remain long after. Always steady, always sure. You let your own breathing match that rhythm, and in doing so, you feel yourself aligning with something vast and timeless. The small concerns of the day seem to shrink, dissolving into the background until they are little more than faint traces. Every so often, a breeze stirs, moving through the garden and brushing lightly against your skin. It is never abrupt, always arriving slowly, as though it doesn't wish to disturb you. It brings with it the scent of the night, cool leaves, distant blossoms. A hint of stone warmed earlier in the day and now releasing the last of its heat. These scents are subtle, almost imagined, but they fill the air around you, weaving into the fabric of this moment. You realize that you could sit here forever, simply breathing, and it would be enough. You close your eyes again, and the darkness behind your lids feels different now, softer, not empty, but full of space. It's as though you are floating in it, weightless, with no need to move, no need to think. Images still come and go, but they are slower, hazier, blending into one another. The flicker of a candle melts into the curve of a garden path, which dissolves into the outline of a faraway tower, which becomes a simple wash of warm light. There is no need to make sense of them. They are simply passing shapes, like clouds moving across a summer sky in this softened space. You notice how your awareness itself is changing. Sounds feel further away, even the ones you can still hear. The quiet trickle of water, the faint hum of insects, the occasional whisper of leaves, they are all at a distance now, as though you are listening from beneath a layer of gentle, protective stillness. Your body feels heavier still, the kind of heaviness that means you are ready to rest deeply, fully. It's a pleasant surrender, like sinking into the deepest part of a warm bed, knowing there is nothing more you need to do. And yet, even as your body becomes heavier, your mind feels lighter. Thoughts that might have once felt sharp or persistent have rounded edges now, and they drift like petals on a slow stream. You can choose to watch them pass, or you can simply close your eyes to them entirely and let them float away. Either way, there is no effort, no strain. The moon has climbed higher now, its light gentler still, and you imagine that even the stars are beginning to grow drowsy. The garden has quieted further, the night insects slowing their song, the air itself growing thicker with stillness. Somewhere far off, a single note of sound, perhaps the distant call of a night bird, rises and falls, then is gone. The world is holding its breath, as though it too is settling into sleep. You feel the pull of that same stillness deep inside yourself, the way it tugs gently at the edges of your awareness, inviting you to drift further. You imagine sinking not down, but inward, into the very heart of this calm. The edges of your awareness blur. The world around you fades into shapes and shadows, then into softness, then into nothing at all. You are here, and yet you are everywhere. You are in the garden, and you are in the palace. And you are in the open night beneath the endless sky. And all of it is wrapped in the same deep, unshakable quiet. The idea of movement feels far away now. If you wished, you could simply stay here, breathing slowly, feeling the gentle weight of your body, the soft hum of the world around you. There's no need to open your eyes, no need to think of what comes next. Everything that matters is already here in this moment, and in this moment you are safe. You are warm. You are held by the night. The stillness becomes so complete that it feels as though you could dissolve into it entirely, becoming part of the darkness, part of the air, part of the quiet heartbeat of the earth itself. It is not a loss, but a return to the place where all journeys end, where all roads lead, where all stories find their rest. You let yourself sink into that return, deeper, slower, without resistance. Without thought, you are ready now to let go fully, ready to drift, ready to sleep.